Welcome in. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's locks before lock. And yes, there's only one game in the NBA, but it's a big one. In case you haven't heard, Savoca Shander on the scene. Jordan is producing. Don't worry, we have the deeper dive live before lock. We'll take you up to this Detroit-Orlando game locking. So all the showdown information you need from a DFS standpoint is coming up in about a half hour, but we're going to break this thing down as we do on locks from a betting perspective. But yeah, it's one game. So if you want to slide in, Savoca, some DFS analysis or any angles or leans that you think can correlate, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with it. The one game we get is gigantic. I didn't know if you knew that ahead of time.
Game of the year status.
Yes.
And shout out to everyone here in the chat for NBA, the locks before lock, or if you're just here for the deeper dive and the live before lock. Appreciate you guys on a day where people are paying attention to another type of basketball. I'm so glad to be helping you all out today with some betting things. And obviously, it's a one-game slate, so a lot of these lines are really efficient. We'll get into it, but the expected ROI, or in terms of quantity of bets available to us at a positive expected ROI, that's going to be lower. But I'm with you, Teddy. I'm in chat. He says, best slate ever. Absolutely. Who doesn't want more than Detroit, Orlando?
Look, I don't. I'm totally okay with that. I know Jordan was pumped here because limited graphics, limited work for him through this locks. We do have some injury stuff that we're waiting on. So it's typical of the day as it goes. It's Detroit, Orlando. We don't even have everything locked in here per se. We know Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Cade Cunningham, though, still a little up in the air. Grant's out, Suggs out. A couple of other guys we know are out coming into this thing, but overall, man, there's value out there. And that's why, from a betting standpoint, DFS standpoint, in our world, we joke because from an entertainment standpoint, this may not be the game of the year by any means, but it doesn't mean that there isn't value. And it doesn't mean, as you alluded to, Matt, that Odd Shopper hasn't already picked out some of these lead spots for value. So absolutely, doesn't matter how many games are on the slate or who's playing, there's going to be an opportunity to beat the books. And that's where we come in with Odd Shopper. So again, if you haven't already, you're with us, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe here in the Odd Shopper platform as well. Do you have any lean on either side of this game, or maybe even a total here? I had an interesting strategy I wanted to bounce off you, but I'll wait and defer to you as far as anything you have from a side or total in this game.
All right, I'll look at this just from a pure analytics perspective. Orlando, even -2. I think you could take them as a point spread bet right there. We have it as an expected win rate of about 53, 54%. It's at -110 right now. That's a 52% or so implied probability. So our expected win rate exceeds the implied probability. Again, it's not tremendous value or anything, but I do think Orlando, they do keep it at least close, but I actually think they take this one outright. And one thing that you could do, and maybe this is what you're going to talk about, Eytan, is bet Orlando right now, because if Cade Cunningham is out, you know this spread is going to change. You know these lines are going to move. So maybe lock that in now when there's more uncertainty related to the lineups.
So let me ask you then, before I explain my strategy here, and I don't know if you're going to like it, but let me just ask you ahead of time, how much does your approach in this game change? And maybe not much at all, but if Cade Cunningham gets ruled in, right now, you look at this, the 219 around there, Odd Shopper is always going to find you the best return on the game, no matter where you are, what state you're in. But how much does this 2.5 point line in your model, in your mind, shift once you get news that Cade Cunningham is in? Because you mentioned it from beating an Orlando standpoint, but I imagine you can beat it from a Detroit standpoint as well.
If you get news that he's in, honestly, I don't think it moves that much at all. Maybe 1.5 or something like that. I really don't think we see a drastic change. I think it's really if he's moved out. And that's what the Awesemo tools as of right now are showing. We have Cade Cunningham with projected stats. If you look at the single game stats tool and the single game projections tool, you'll see Cade Cunningham up there. So right now, I think that we're kind of moving alongside of Vegas, and the current thought is that he probably plays. Obviously, keep it right here. We'll know more as we get closer to tip off.
All right, so I'm looking at it from a desperation standpoint, combined with you're going up against another really bad team. The Pistons have lost 4 in a row, and maybe it's just to add a little excitement to this 1-game slate going up against the first day of March Madness. But if you were to attack the Pistons ahead of time, again, on this money line, because that 2 points, depending on if you think this is going to be tight or not, then you could also add a little bit of, because you're going to have this depending on the book, but the margin of victory where you can split it. So what I did is, and I'll just run down the numbers here for you, Matt. I looked at the Pistons as a plus 130 money line winner and thought, all right, if there's an opportunity for these guys who we saw had that stretch where they were playing well, I know the record didn't, but now they've dropped 4 straight. Many bodies are out, Diallo, others, I get it. Cade Cunningham back, though, and I'm banking on that. I take the Pistons plus 130, then I split a half a unit. One on the Pistons 1 to 10 margin of victory at plus 220, and the other at 11 plus if shit gets really out of hand at plus 550. But either way, I'm getting a positive return on top of that money line bet. So I'm pouring a lot of chips in the middle on the Pistons tonight, but it's a counter play, I believe, because of how shitty they've been and how easy it is to buy Orlando even right now, as bad as they've been.
And honestly, the tools kind of back you up. You're not really going out on a huge limb here. Basically, Detroit money line, the expected win probability compared to the implied probability, it's basically a rounding error, the differential there. So I think Detroit money line, especially if Cade plays, or if you kind of have a feel that he does, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And then the added bonuses to kind of hedge things there, I really dig it.
Anything else on side total? Again, like, we don't need totals. If you don't like the total or the first quarter total, or if there's nothing that our model or your own data screams at, then we'll talk some player props by all means. We'll hit some futures here because we have the ability to do so, especially with somebody relevant tonight. But again, if there is anything on a total side, for me, there isn't. I didn't have anything. I didn't want to force anything either, mainly just because of how volatile both of these teams can be, 2 bad teams going up against each other. But I didn't know if you had anything at all that would even be a lean towards a total here.
If you're looking at it, I'd see a 219 right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you could go with under, just because the pace of play isn't something that either team has had consistently. Orlando, over their last 10 games, they are 8th in the NBA in pace, despite being 23rd in net rating. They're still not a good team by any stretch. Detroit, even though they're a young team, they're a fairly slow team. They're actually 28th in pace over the last 10 games here. So not the full season sample, but they don't need speed in order to win here. And you know, I think there are scenarios where they slow things down and are able to win. I don't have a strong lean. I don't think there's a huge edge with totals, money line, or spread here. It's worth digging into because it, obviously affects how we think these players are going to do, but I don't think there's a ton of value.
All right, so let's look at a couple of player props here. And again, Odd Shopper, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Odd Shopper channel, like the DFS channel here, then my goodness, you're missing out on daily content and really just plays, picks, and how to use this site on a constant basis. So new content is being uploaded, updated from video to written. Let's look at some player stuff and sorting by ROI. Again, if you're looking at building a same game parlay, you can look at win percentage and try and find things that make sense to build together individually. And I don't know as far as where you start, but individually, I like to just look at the ROIs and see where I can find that middle ground, right, of a really strong X win percentage, something above 60%, and then the best ROI I can find on the board. And we talked about this ahead of time, so I'm not, I just get this out of the way here. That Mo Bamba blocks seems to be the best play according to Odd Shopper across the board. And just for you and anyone else here, it's 64% of an X win. X ROI is 38%. He's projected, Alex's free projection has him going 2.2 tonight against Detroit. And you're still getting plus 115 at DK to go over that 1.5. So Odd Shopper is screaming at you, Matt Savoca, to play the over here.
It's obvious. Yeah, this is one of those trust the math situations. We understand why these numbers are going to be fluid because, Wendell Carter Jr. was ruled out at this point. But if you're getting that, if that's available to you, go ahead and slam that. That's an obvious one. The math is just straight wrong, or that's what the Awesemo projections suggest. If you're looking for another one in the blocks department, Franz Wagner over 0.5 blocks is an okay one as well at plus odds. Is sort of an off the wall one with still a 40% win probability. You were saying you look for that middle ground of expected win probability. I'm that value freak. I'm just trying to carve out any value I can. I don't care if it's a 2.5% chance of happening. If it says with the implied probability that it's only 1%, I'm digging it. I'm going all the way for it. So that's why, especially over the last few shows, if you've listened in, I've been recommending a ton of plus odds bets sort of to like mix into that single game parlay, because the value is there based on expected ROI.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And I'm going to have it in my head and I'll build it as we go here. But I think that there are some opportunities from an X win percentage definitely to build that there. So from a block standpoint, you mentioned Wagner, right? And that's over a half, right? At plus money, I have plus 170. Not terrible
that's
at
what
all.
I'm seeing as well. Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
it's really
no, I
close,
like that.
Obviously. But
right.
Just need
but
one.
Again, you're getting plus money at the Bamba scenario. You're getting plus money here with Franz as well. And you're attacking some value from Odd Shopper and then from you here. So even if it's a smaller mark, and look, this might be the game where you're attacking some smaller market props, and it's not as easy as just, Sadiq Bey over X points or something along those lines, where you're trying to carve out something that's a little more consistent or returning this huge value. Speaking of Wagner, we have rebounds. This is another one that we identified, right? The under 5.5 rebounds looks like a pretty strong one on Odd Shopper for Wagner.
Absolutely. I kind of break up all the bets into quadrants, and both of the Wagner bets we've talked about are in the top tier value quadrant. For me, means nothing to the viewers. It's a good value, and absolutely, even at I'm seeing at minus 115, still an expected win rate of 65%, an implied probability based on that minus 115 odds of about 53%. So there's your value right there. That differential, really solid XROI of 22 as I'm seeing it at the moment. Absolutely. These big men for Orlando should be busy. We're not expecting a whole lot of offensive efficiency really on either side, which means rebounding should be available. That said, Bamba is the one that we kind of think has a better chance here. Wagner under 5.5. It still looks like a really solid value bet.
Same game Wagner parlay here is the 1+ block under 5.5 rebounds. So we're taking your block play and combining that with Odd Shoppers under 5.5, and that's a plus 390 return. And reminder, the blocks alone was plus 170. So those aren't necessarily correlated, and I don't think that the return takes a hit. Like, it's not like we're taking over points and over threes, and you're not going to get that big of a return. I don't know if plus 390 is good enough for you, but it looks pretty good on the surface, at least.
Absolutely. And you could add, we have a couple of interesting unders for players who are going to play a lot, like Cole Anthony, certainly going to get plenty of minutes in this game, but under 5.5 assists is one. It's kind of interesting to me at plus 100 again, plus odds. We have an expected win rate on this bet at 56%, a solid XROI of 12. So if you want to tag on another to that single game parlay, that's really, really solid value. Again, this is something that's really been happening a lot this year. Unders for players who contribute in two of the three main statistical categories, who tend to play a lot, we often have value there. And guys, just remember, when we have these lines that are this efficient on a one-game slate, we're really, really talking about if we have a median projection at, say, 6.5 assists, and the line is at 5.5. We need to consider that a huge value edge today. We're really carving out things, talking about median projections, but we can still do that same work with expected win rate and expected ROI, as we've been talking about.
All right. So Anthony under 5.5 assists, right?
That's
you want to add that?
Yeah.
All right. No, look, I this is not done yet. All right. We've got 3 in there. We'll slowly build some more that you like. And here's the thing. I won't add anything without your consent. So I'm not going to sneak something in here without you giving the thumbs up, but we're at plus 750 so far, adding Anthony's assists under 5.5. One for me. And look, this has come up a lot. It's played a lot. And one thing I love about our platform here, Matt, is that you never know which member of the Awesemo community, from host to producer, is in the chat listening. So I hope Eric Lindquist is here, because I will once again pound the table and slam the Mo Bamba over 1.5 3-point prop, mainly because this has got a much better chance of hitting the closer the game is. he's been out there taking, he also can shoot well enough to where if he has 4 to 5, 4.5 attempts, he can still get you the 2. But ideally, we'll see in a closer scenario him get north of 5, maybe 5 to 5.5 attempts tonight against Detroit. Love that spot where it's still plus money. Hit last time Tuesday night against Brooklyn, even though Lindquist was on this very show telling me I was crazy. So you can do the same, my brother, by all means, but I'm slamming this one here.
Honestly, I had not looked up the number of, over the last 10 games from Mo Bamba, these three-pointers attempt, it's well over 4. So if you're saying 5, you're absolutely in the realm of reality. I can't believe it.
You can't believe that I'm in the realm of reality.
I can't. No, that's actually the truth. No, but you're right. If he's taking 4 in a game that could be kind of wide open because of possible pace, I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. But in terms of inefficiency, big men taking 3s, especially with the fact that Wendell Carter's out, absolutely, it could happen.
And here's the thing. I'll meet you halfway. How about this? I'll only put the 1+ made 3s into the same game parlay. So I'm not even asking you for 2. I think
that's safer.
Okay.
Tagging on like as a 5th leg. I actually like that better.
And by the way, that brings us to plus 900 from plus 750. So we've added plus 150 value to this by only going 1+ instead of the 2+. So I'll concede that you like the play, and I'll meet you halfway, and we'll put the 1+ in there by all means. All right. Anything else that jumped out? And again, some of these, especially if you're looking at it from a same game parlay or just adding maybe one, doesn't have to be 4 or 5 legs, right, Matt? But if you're just trying to use Odd Shopper's X win percentage and use that sorting tool to build maybe 1 or 2 legs now, 2, 3 legs of a same game parlay, there are a couple that have really strong X win chances of hitting, but you wouldn't play those individually, like Wagner under 3.5 assists, Corey Joseph under 3.5 rebounds. So there are a couple that you can, even Joseph's over 3.5 assists, but more so with the under 3.5 boards, and then back to Franz under 3.5 assists.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we should take a step back just for a minute because we have the time, which is rare on these Locks Before Locks show, where, when we're talking about trying to use plus odds based on all solid expected ROI bets individually, cutting off the ticket at 3 and 4 is eventually going to help you build your bankroll. Not to say that for some bettors, it absolutely makes sense to tack on that 5th or 6th element to the ticket, but be really wary once you start adding these on, because even if each of the individual bets have high expected win probabilities, just by the nature of adding so much to your bet, you're drastically lowering the probabilities here. That's why we're seeing the odds drastically increase each time we add it to the ticket. The books know absolutely that it's harder for all of them to hit. So just remember that from a strategy standpoint. We may talk about, well, add this on to go crazier, make this so that you can get higher expected win probability. Remember, make tickets that, first of all, tell a story altogether. You don't want two disparate views on the game on one ticket. And secondarily, make sure it makes sense for the way you're building for your bankroll. There's no point in all these plus 8,000 tickets that you can make if your goal is to just slowly build up bankroll over time. I know some of you want to do that.
Well said. So I stopped, as you were warning everybody, I stopped and I kept it as the 4 leg. Okay. So we're in now at the 4 leg, because I could feel you get the anxiety building up. Like, how many more legs?
My analytical brain going, I don't know. I don't know.
Right. Is he going to add more legs to this thing? No, we'll keep it at 4. All right. I promise you. It's the Wagner 1+ blocks, under 5.5 rebounds, under 5.5 assists for Anthony, and 1+ Mohamed Bamba 3-pointers made. Good.
Okay. All right. If we want to give an alt bet that can make this ticket crazy, but you don't have to do it, right? We're talking about bankroll building, and now we're talking about the other side. Just go absolutely nuts.
Yes, I love it.
Hear me out on this one. Isaiah Stewart over 0.5 3-pointers. So it's probably on a single game parlay. It'll be 1+ 3-pointers.
You're lucky to get that, though.
Yeah. The man hasn't shot a 3-pointer in this last 10 games. He may not shoot one here, but if he makes one, he actually has a 15% chance, according to the Awesemo odds, of making a 3-pointer here. And the implied probability is 12%. So there is some value there. Add that. I'm seeing it at plus 700. What does that do for that ticket if you want to add that as leg number 5?
All right, here's the thing, and we do have some time, so I can check this, and anybody watching in the chat, if they want to help along.
That's right.
No. Here's the problem that we have is a lot of the smaller player market props like Isaiah Stewart over a half 3 is not going to be available on the same game parlay option because of what you laid out, because they're smarter than the average person. They're not smarter than you because you figured out a way to game it. That's why they're trying to shut that down. So what you can do, and look, the reality is the 4-leg same game parlay we just built, Matt, is plus 900. This over a half Isaiah Stewart is plus 700. So the turn is you could just play this individually. If you're playing that full unit same game parlay, you should just play Isaiah Stewart separately. But no, and I've checked a couple of the bigger ones here, and unfortunately, they're not going to allow you to combine it in a same game parlay with somebody who's at like a half. That's what's killer on there. But you were definitely onto it, man. And if there is a smaller book that allows you, then let us know.
What a bummer. What a bummer. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. That really is the only bet that we have that's sort of stratospherically low probability, and yet our probability exceeds there. I mean, again, you're probably going to run into the same problem with a Saddiq Bey blocks bet over 0.5 or 1 plus blocks for Saddiq Bey. If you want to add that at plus 330, there's my kind of off the wall bets that look pretty decent. That one, our expected win probability is actually a little bit lower than the implied win probability at plus 330, but we're talking about a rounding error, like 23 or 24% versus an implied probability of 26%, essentially the exact same.
All right, final couple of minutes here, 5 minutes or so. And a reminder, the deeper dive coming your way next, Loughran and Adam, then the live before lock. If you haven't already taken advantage of this, I'm in this watching the Discord explode as a result of our premium betting pick subscription now. And this is insane. Today is the last day that you can get in and out for $10 off with our promo code Let Me See Those Picks. It's that easy. It's that simple. It's one word. It's all caps. And then you're getting Alex Baker, Ben Rasa, Steve Buzzard. All three of these guys are using Awesemo's industry-leading tools and model and ROI data for you and putting out top picks. I was watching Rasa put out his college picks this morning before everything goes down, Matt. And you and I were talking about just we've got the benefit here of following some pretty sharp people in a sport that maybe we don't follow every day. And this is why something like this exists.
And you know what? I've been talking about this every show I get because I think the premium betting subscription is something people might sleep on. It's like, oh, that's not for me. I subscribe to Awesemo to get the tools. I want to find the answer myself. I want to learn how to fish. Guys, learning the way that Steve Buzzard, the Colts, and Alex Awesemo Baker and Ben Rasa use our tools, how they interpret those tools to make their own picks to try to win money themselves. I think that's where the actual gold is here for our users. I think it's an absolutely great thing that we're kind of peeking behind the curtain a little bit. I think it's awesome. I'm tailing some of the bets. It's just a whole lot of fun to get in the Discord as well.
And let me say, as many times as I get a bet wrong, I got something wrong coming up. Poor Adam probably got a message like, yo, I can't wait. It's Josh. It's Josh and Loughran, not Adam. He's off tonight. So I apologize. Corrected that there on the chat as well. All right, I know you wanted to look at Rookie of the Year. And look, we do have some time. We'll bounce back before we get out of here on maybe a play or two. I was interested in one Saddiq Bey player prop, but you were looking at Rookie of the Year. And again, you can use for player props and player futures. You can use Odd Shopper for, anything you can out there.
Yeah.
Were you? No, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were if you had anything on Cade, but that's all. If not, then we can go back to this.
Yeah. I think Cade, let's be real. This board is Evan Mobley's to lose, right? So anybody else is an upset, but Cade at plus 500, where I see it right now, isn't a terrible bet. Looking at some advanced analytics, as you would expect, I'm seeing a player an estimated plus minus essentially at replacement level. That's the whole season stats for Cade Cunningham. It's obviously improved a bit. His shooting has been more efficient of late, but this is Mobley's award to lose. And honestly, with Jared Allen out, we're going to see an opportunity for Mobley that really no other rookie has at this point. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I do think Cade at plus 500 being the number one pick, if he goes on an absolute tear, we're getting late here, obviously. Less than a month of the season to go, but it's not a terrible bet at plus odds right now.
You put anything down, Jokic 135, still plus money. It's hard to get anything on Embiid right now at minus 140.
Jokic is the best player in the league. It's not even close.
Why would you do that to me with 2 minutes left in this show? Seriously.
Embiid is incredible. Embiid is incredible.
Why would you even bring that up? We had a 27-minute show with a shit game, and you wait until 90 seconds to go to sting me like that, Matt?
I didn't see the GM of the Nuggets go racing out at the deadline to get another superstar.
I don't know what's going on with Harden right now. He's playing as a star. I'll concede that one there.
It's been a fantastic move. I'm ribbing you. You know that. Embiid, if Embiid gets the MVP, I'm not upset at all, but my pick is Jokic.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's why I brought up Jokic first, because at least there's plus money still at plus 135. And I know how you feel. Don't worry about it, man. Look, I'll leave you with this thought here. It's been 5 games straight now for Saddiq Bey to fail to go over 2.5 threes. He's at a pretty plus hefty money return here at under 2.5 threes tonight. I know it's Orlando and you can shoot again them, but look at the volume: 9 threes, 7, 4. Okay. 8, 6, right? So he's taking a lot of threes. He's just struggling right now. So this is all about taking advantage of a guy recently, Matt, who's on somewhat of a struggle, kind of ice out there, and getting some plus money back on it.
Actually, don't hate that at all. Don't hate that at all. He obviously has the green light from the coaches, averaging 7 on the nose in terms of its 3-point attempts per game over his last 10. As you said, he's only making less than 2.5. Our projections probably will say there's some regression to the mean. If he's allowed to take those shots, that means he's capable of hitting those shots. I dig that.
At Draftaholic, you can follow Matt on Twitter if you're not already. At Shander Show for me. Thanks to Jordan producing. Thanks to you out there. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe here. We keep showing you the value of Odd Shopper. It's free. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Shopper community. And look, if you haven't taken advantage of our premium betting picks subscription in the Discord, you're missing out. 3 sharp minds in the business are giving you picks on a daily basis. So always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, you too, bud. This was fun.
I'll see you soon. Thanks again, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
I know you don't love Tim Dillon, but he was on Joey's podcast, Diaz podcast, and Joey Diaz was talking about his diet, and it's so good, man. You would actually thoroughly appreciate it.
Okay.
And he's clearly just ripped out of his mind.
Sure, of course. Why is this not showing up?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA Deeper Dive presented by OddsShopper. My name is Dave Loughran. The fellow along with me today, Josh Engleman, at Josh Engleman on Twitter. Find me at Laffy_D. One game slate. Get stoked because we got a barn burner on our hands today. The Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons. I mean, could it get any better than this, Josh?
Yes, pretty easily with basically like 24 other teams. Could.
What's the worst matchup in basketball from a viewing standpoint? Like
Thunder or somebody.
What's that?
It's got to be the Thunder, right?
So I was going to say that, but I kind of disagree because SGA is actually really fun. I
guess, but like I don't want to watch somebody really good play with four guys that shouldn't be in the NBA.
Okay, but I would rather watch someone that's really good play with four guys that should be in the NBA than five guys that shouldn't be in the NBA.
I guess.
And don't get me wrong, Sadiq Bey should be. Pistons have guys that are all like viable role players. You know, maybe not 38-minute per game guys, but like Jeremy Grant's not a bad player at all. A lot of these guys, but if Cade's
I don't know, like Knicks OKC.
No, Knicks. Why?
I mean,
Knicks?
they play slow. They're a shit show. Who do you really want to watch on the Knicks play basketball?
I'm a fan of RJ Barrett. I like RJ Barrett a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can name one guy on every team that I like too.
Okay.
I mean,
so
at some point, in time, we got to go past the first guy that you like.
Darth Gator says Spurs and Rockets. I see. Like I
like DeJounte Murray. Go ahead.
How do you don't? Come on. That is objectively not the worst matchup at all. You know that.
Well, no, I think you need to learn to lean towards more slow teams. Like nobody wants to watch slow bad teams as much as you'd want to watch fast bad teams.
Yeah, I think Pistons have to be in the conversation. I mean,
that's why I said the Knicks.
Yeah, Pistons are their pace is they have a 95 pace over the last month.
Well, that's not very good. That's not very good.
Maybe like Blazers, Pistons.
I mean, current Blazers. Like you mean like at this moment? Yeah, the Blazers are pretty
like
high
if the
up there because they're missing
was,
8 of their starters.
Right, but if the matchup was today, Blazers are definitely in that conversation.
They are very much in that conversation.
You know who else? And you're going to totally disagree with me on this one.
The Philadelphia 76ers?
No, they're fun. The Lakers. Like the level of underachieving right now with the Lakers.
Why would I disagree with you? I would hate to watch the Lakers.
Okay. I thought you'd be like, yeah, LeBron, and you're a huge Westbrook stan. So I thought there'd be that.
Yeah, I can't get enough of that guy.
What's the best? And by the way, what's up, guys? Happy to have you with us. Just bear with us for a second. We're going to get into all of this. Only one game. Pacers Pistons is a good one. Says, yeah, but Pacers, like, I don't.
Pacers have a couple guys I like now. Yeah. Although, like, if Miles Turner is back, then I'm 100% in to watch.
You're in on him. Yep. Hit that thumbs up. I mean, Josh, 329 watching right now. This is clearly a third. Usually we have like at least 1,500 right now.
Yeah, this is clearly a one-game NBA slate with the first day of March Madness.
But can we still try and get those likes up? I mean, it would mean a lot to get to 100 likes with 336 people watching. That would be an accomplishment.
I wouldn't be mad about it that much, I could tell you.
You take what you can get. And we appreciate you guys for that. And subscribe to the channel. If you want to join, hit join down below. Get the free super chats each month. Custom emojis, those sweet badges. Malicor's iced out now. Let's go. All right. It's happening, man. The turnover is happening with those sweet iced out badges. We'll always prioritize your questions along with our super chat members. Gundacker's in chat too. He's got a wrench as well. Says Blazers Pistons. Yeah, I agree. I think he texted. I said that before I even mentioned it. Yeah, trash. Let me ask you this though. Here's a fun one, and let me hear from you guys as well.
I thought you meant the Gundacker had a literal wrench, and I was like, how do you even know that?
I was gonna say, how would you think that I would know that?
I don't know.
Right.
I was just like I looked to my left, like to see him just holding up this huge wrench.
What do you think? He like popped into the Zoom room with a wrench?
I have no idea, honestly.
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. Let's hear from you guys too. Then we're gonna jump into this actual game. And we're 116 likes on 350 people watching.
That'll do.
We got good people around this way.
We do.
So, and Anthony says, not watching any March Madness today. I'm here for the legendary Laffy Engleman zombie baby rants. All right. Worst, best matchup, right? So like, what's the worst theoretical finals matchup that's actually possible? It's a great question.
Miami and somebody.
Utah?
Yeah. Yeah. Miami, Utah would be pretty gnarly.
Like, what's a ratings killer?
Utah, somebody from the East.
Because the Mavs are
Utah,
really...
Cleveland.
Cleveland would be rough. Mavs
I mean,
are
I don't think Cleveland's a realistic answer, but
no, Mavs are slow, but they're great defensively, and Luka Doncic just makes every game exciting.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, remember him against the Clippers a couple of years ago, where he just beat, like, I think they ended up losing that series, but he won multiple games on his own. That's exciting stuff. Yeah, you're probably right. In terms of realistic matchups, probably Jazz, Heat. And that's not to say these, like, the Heat are an awesome team, but they win by.
I mean, Denver, Miami would be like super uninteresting to most people.
Yeah, people don't care about watching Jokic all that much.
People don't care about Denver. That's the real problem. Like, that's the real
right. But
issue
even with Jokic, right? Like, he doesn't get the same fanfare.
No, well, because he doesn't care about it.
If the Sixers didn't have Harden, they would be. They're honestly a tough to watch team with just Embiid. They are.
I agree.
You know,
I mean, they're super slow. They're third from the bottom.
Yep. Best matchup.
Brooklyn.
It's Brooklyn and a fully healthy Warriors team, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Right?
Yeah. It's Golden State for sure. Brooklyn for sure.
I wouldn't hate seeing John Morant, but that team.
Nobody cares.
Right. That's what I mean. But you and I love basketball, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. If we're talking about like who's going to watch it the most, that's a different question. If we're talking about like what I think is the best, like I still think it might be Milwaukee, but
Warriors Nets hands down.
Yeah. Warriors Nets is the biggest ratings grab that the NBA could have.
All right. Let's talk a little basketball. Brooklyn, Phoenix, Allen said. Phoenix doesn't have that same pull, though. You know, they just don't. Brooklyn, Golden State's got to be the answer. And then Curry should be back by the start of the playoffs, you would hope.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the Pistons.
We do.
We got the Magic. You have a lot of injuries, right? So we already have Wendell Carter Jr. ruled out. On the Orlando side, no Wendell Carter Jr., no Jalen Suggs. Chuma Okeke's out. You know what else is interesting here, too? Worth paying attention to. Let me see if they fix this. He's still listed as questionable on DraftKings, and they haven't updated the blurb either.
I mean, I hope that happens.
Well, people pay attention to just that. Not everyone's going looking at an NBA injury report.
I know. I really, really, really hope that holds.
Yeah, it's been like that all day, too. And it's shocking because quite frankly, they're usually pretty good about updating that on DraftKings. They're not bad, but today, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're like, fuck it, one game. You know, everyone feels the same way. But yeah, pay attention to that. That could play a big role here, right? Because if that tag never gets lifted and the blurb never gets updated, then you're probably going to see depressed ownership on some of these other guys that would fill up minutes for him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's going to pull way more. Like, it could cover the rake.
Yeah, especially.
I don't think it'll be that extreme, but they'll cover a good chunk of it.
Don't you think a lot of lower stakes stuff? You know, granted, like if people are using Cruncher or you still do that in lower stakes, but if you're if you have a way of knowing that guys are out other than just like hand building and using it on DraftKings. But what I'm thinking, like lower stakes single entry or 3-max stuff where the majority of people are hand building. I bet ownership is so much different on that than it is. I know it will be on like higher stakes single entry stuff. I bet it's way different if they don't fix that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then who else is out? Suggs. Cade Cunningham is the big one here. We're waiting on that. You got Live Before Lock with Eric and Greg coming up after us. Jeremy Grant's out. Hamidou Diallo's out. Rodney Magruder questionable. Frank Jackson out. So pretty much we're waiting on Cunningham, and Magruder actually makes a difference today, especially if Cunningham is out.
He does indeed. I need the Cunningham news desperately because right now he's in every single lineup I created on FanDuel.
Who is?
Cunningham.
He's in every lineup you made?
Every single one of them.
Ooh,
yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, it's so much different now too. And he is, as far as salaries go, you've got him at what, 14.5, and now with Carter out, the next closest is Cole Anthony at 13,000, and
yeah,
you can't even be projecting them close.
No, I have Cade Cunningham as a significantly better play than Cole Anthony. Let's see. I've got Cole at 40.5 fantasy points. I've got Cole Anthony at 33.
Wow.
It's a minutes thing too. I mean, I don't think Cole's going to be out there for 36, but I do think Cade will be if he's out there for the entire game.
Cade's playing huge minutes.
I know.
Huge minutes. So let's dive into it. Pistons, 108.5 point total. Man, we're just a really fun game here. 108.5 point total. You got Detroit traveling to Orlando. I still like them to cover here, but without this Cade news, I don't feel all that confident in hammering that right now. We'll see though. It's a good one that if Cade gets ruled in, to hit it really quick. If you can hit that, Josh, at like, what are they, 2-point dogs right now, and Cade gets ruled in before they pull that off the board, I like that a lot.
Unless it's just an assumption that he's already in and nothing moves. Not that you're not going to get a worse line.
No, you're right. That's fair. But
it's not going to go the other way.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying even at 2, if Cade's in and it doesn't move, I like it. The problem is if you hit it now and Cade's out, then it's moving.
Then you're pinched. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll pay attention to that. With Wendell Carter out, it's a big deal though. I mean, he's been the engine on that sputtering, ship that they've been aboard lately in Orlando. So that takes a lot off the table, but let's kick it off with Detroit. You said right now you have 100% of Cade in your run right now. It's just really difficult not to get there. And one thing you and I talked about in the strategy show, you can expand on this a little bit, because we'll talk a lot about lineup construction as well. This isn't like captaining Lamar Jackson or captaining Derrick Henry and then being like, oh God, these final 2 spots, I got to play Anthony Ferkser and some other guy, some 3rd string tight end, talking football. With this slate, given the pricing, and even when Wendell Carter Jr. was still questionable, you can play anyone you want, even if you're paying 1.5x for Cade Cunningham at captain. Yeah,
we're running into a situation now where there's more than enough money to go around. And FanDuel's going to be a little bit different than DraftKings because you need basically the 5 best scores. Value is a little bit different with the construction on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, where you're unlocking Isaiah Livers and Magruder and even someone like Mo Bamba now at 7,200, who became a better play than, like, he was a non-existent play before. He is now a play now that Wendell Carter Jr. is out. But we have so much value that getting to someone like Cade at 10.8 is just simple. It's really that easy. Salary has been rendered meaningless on DK today. You're going to make some lineups and you're just going to be leaving like $3,000 on the table pretty easily.
Yeah. And the question now really is, like, how do you get different here? If you're trying not to, the goal shouldn't always be just to solo every single time. But
right,
if you're trying not to have, because I guarantee you, Josh, right now we could build a lineup and we could pretty much guarantee what the chalkiest lineup is going to be. It's not hard to figure out.
No. That's figuring out what you should be doing in like a cash game perspective from in Showdown, to me on DraftKings is really easy. And you see a lot of people do it incorrectly. The one thing that I do want to point out, though, the big contest on DraftKings is only 23,000 people. Like, there's not going to be, I mean, there can be a ton of duplication at the top, but it's not as aggressive as it seems. Similar story for FanDuel. It's not as big of a contest as you sometimes see for these showdowns where it's like, you know, game one of the finals and it's 100,000 entries and everything's duped up. Like, there's 33,000 entries on the FanDuel contest. I'm only saying this because I have it in front of me. Like, my number one lineup is projected to be duped once.
That's crazy.
And like, if I just read off the dupes column, 11011220223, like I don't have to. Yeah.
Which is even crazier because, you know, the highest projected player is always going into that MVP spot. Generally
speaking, yeah. Now I'm spreading those guys out, and that's probably what's limiting my dupes. I've got Cade. Like I said, I have him 100%. 37 at MVP, 25 at star, 22 at pro, 15 at utility.
So I bet if you locked Cade into MVP, you'd see those dupe numbers skyrocket.
Absolutely. It's going to be a much, much, much bigger. Like, if I just select the lineups that I generated with him at MVP, I start seeing 5, 7, 8, 11. And some of those I have. They're just, you know, they didn't cycle their way all the way out. They're at the bottom of the list, but I'm still just going to get there. A lot of what I have at the top is fine.
Which kind of shows you that, and again, like, yes, Cade at the MVP makes the most sense if you're building like a cash lineup, right?
Yeah.
Has the highest optimal chances. But at the same time, Cade Cunningham is not Nikola Jokic on this slate.
Right.
You know, it's a big, if it's Nikola Jokic, how much Jokic? Say it's this slate and every player's here, but you just sub out, there's no Cunningham, but there's Nikola Jokic. You're getting him at MVP at an insane clip, and you're not even trying to change it. You say, I'll go different elsewhere. That's it.
No, yeah, because the odds of someone else in this game scoring more raw fantasy points than Jokic, even if he would be 16K, maybe 16.5, the odds of anybody outscoring him and getting, because you're multiplying that by 2, but not changing the salary. He's in everything in the MVP. Like, getting away from that is really hard. The way that we have ownership set up right now, outside of Cade at MVP, which is 39% ownership, no other ownership spot on the entire slate for FanDuel is like north of 21%. You can make pretty reasonable lineups right now.
It feels like it. Yeah. It's just a good way to look at it. To think that, and yes, like Cade Cunningham clearly projected higher than everyone else. If you look at, I love the boom bust tool because we don't have optimal percentages for Showdown, but you still have a lot of other good stuff like boom percentage, which can be less important on a Showdown site just because you don't need them to boom, right?
Yeah.
To be in the optimal. But you look at but you have projections in there. You have the ownership, you have the ceiling, the floor, all of that stuff on one page. Just makes it nice. You don't have to open up 4 different tabs. Cade is projected the highest by like 7 points. But at the same time, Sadiq Bey can get there. We've seen him. His ceiling is not that much lower than Cade's. Cole Anthony's ceiling is 39. Mo Bamba's ceiling, this is what we have it at 37. And then, honestly, I was even a little bit surprised that we only have Bamba's or Bagley's ceiling at 31, given the role that we might see him play tonight with no Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I mean, I have a ceiling significantly higher than that.
What do you have it at? Just curious.
Well, we're calculating it differently. So
right, of course, but that's what I'm at. Yeah.
I have Bagley's ceiling at 45.
Okay. So it's just a different calculation.
Well, yeah. And so what I do, just, you know, so we can speak through it, I treat ceiling as 1.5 standard deviations on top of my projection. So it keeps the 29-minute mark. So to me, the ceiling for Marvin Bagley in 29 minutes is basically 45 fantasy points. That's the way that I like to look at it. And to me, that seems pretty reasonable. Like, that's 1.55 fantasy points per minute. That's a really good score, but nothing. It's not like, oh, he's 2.8 fantasy points per minute. Like, 1.55 is pretty normal for like a high end game.
Bagley could go off today if this is the Magic too. They're not a good rebounding team. They already were like the worst offensive rebounding team in the league, which helps, any big on the defensive boards. But now they lost Wendell Carter Jr., who's their best rebounder. Like Bagley could dominate the boards here. There's no doubt about it.
I think he looks good. I'm pretty neutral on him on FanDuel, but I think he looks a little bit better on DraftKings than he does on FanDuel.
What do we have his ownership out on DraftKings?
That's a great question. I don't have it up.
We've got it at, hold on. Bagley is at 48%. Makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, only 6% at captain.
Yeah, I would have no problem getting to him at captain.
Cade 27, and granted, Cade might not play. Still questionable if you're just jumping in here. Cade 27% captain ownership. Marvin Bagley 6%. Bamba 9%. All of these, the way I look at it, right? And you could probably explain it better than I could, but you'll know where I'm going with this. Okay. Is when it comes to Cunningham, he makes the most sense, but he's also, again, he's not Jokic. You could easily finish with a 33, a 35 from Cade Cunningham, get the discount on, Bamba or Marvin Bagley. They finished with around the same, maybe even a couple less than that. And it just opens up even more, but you're also separating yourself from so many other lineups by throwing a 6%, Bagley or 9% Bamba in the captain spot.
Yeah, 100%. Cade is not the same sort of lock you would normally see.
Right.
His price is properly above the rest of the guys in relationship to what everyone's projected for. And that's part of the reason why, I still think it's reasonable to look at boom scores. To me, it's a slightly different calculation on a day like today, but it's still generally accurate. And someone like Saddiq Bey, just on a per dollar basis, is going to grade out a little bit better. I think it's pretty easy to get away from Cade if you want to. I prefer him on FanDuel, obviously, just because of that raw point ceiling. But on DraftKings, I think it's a very different discussion.
It is, right. And yes, the raw point ceiling, significant. But even you said on FanDuel, you still don't have him more than what? Third of your lineups at MVP?
Something in that neighborhood. It was or is 37% at MVP, which is basically matching the field right now.
I was going to say
that I have him significantly higher everywhere else.
That's what's interesting to me. Exactly. Yeah. I think too, it would probably be good if he does play, honestly.
I mean, I want him to play.
Yeah.
It gets even more ridiculous from a salary perspective if he doesn't play, because that takes out the most expensive player in the game.
Exactly. And if you were to just go, this is what's nuts. If you were to just take the there's 6. Yeah. So if you just took the 5 most expensive players straight down the line in the player pool on DraftKings, 5 most expensive players, Cunningham, Cole Anthony, Saddiq Bey, Marvin Bagley, Mo Bamba, you still have 2,800 remaining for that last spot.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. That never happens.
It makes things super duper easy to fill out after that. I mean, 2,800. Do you think it's Robin Lopez Day? Go for it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's Terrence Ross Day? Go for it. Magruder, Livers. Any one of those guys can be a guy that falls into a ton of minutes. You got to cycle through that.
How many minutes do you think Livers plays today?
Oh, man. Minutes are tough today.
Very. But no Jeremy Grant.
I got him in for 25. Last I looked, we had him in for 23, but there are some pieces of this one that I think Detroit's minutes are a lot easier to project than Orlando's for today.
Okay. Well, he is on Detroit.
Yeah. So I have him at 25, and there's not a lot of disparity between what I look at and, our minutes and, some other places. Because like anybody else that should be, if you have the ability to look at more data, you should. Detroit is much more stable from a minutes perspective. Orlando's all over the place.
Exit Screaming said you better have money left on the table tonight. So I think a lot of spots you naturally will.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not captaining Cade, it's very easy to do that. Do you know what your average remaining salary is on these lineups? I know you got some wild stuff in some of these sheets. I bet you can figure that out.
Now, again, FanDuel is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 57,000 a bunch of times, 59.5. Let's see. I can total this up almost immediately.
Okay, cool.
And I can tell you exactly how many I have at each salary tier. So
while you do that, hit that thumbs up. Appreciate you guys being here. Not the most
Sure.
exciting slate, but we're doing everything we can to make sure we get you guys where we need to go.
I'm actually like excited about it. Is that weird?
Not really, because Jordan shook his head. Yes.
What does Jordan know?
Not really, because this is, if nothing else, Josh, if nothing else, very unique slate.
Yeah.
Given the matchup, like when do we ever get a showdown slate that isn't two good teams in the postseason, first of all, or like a marquee matchup before the All-Star break? A lot of times you'd have one game, day of the Super Bowl. Sometimes you'd have one game, but they're usually good teams.
Yeah.
This
you
is
usually
just
don't get the ass end of it. I feel like we're playing a 1-game G League showdown.
Yeah. With the scheduling here, there's something odd about that, right? Is this a makeup game, or was this the schedule makers are like, shit, I don't know where to, just throw on Cleveland or Detroit and Orlando.
It's March Madness. Let's get the hell out of there with a game that nobody wants to watch.
Right. No, I know that's why they're doing it. It's just funny that, yeah, okay, but why do one anyway? Just do like a bunch of crappy ones, or I don't know. It's funny.
I love that it's bookended by 2 12 gamers. Anyway, I have 5 different buckets of salary. 54 of my 150 right now have all 60K spent. 49, so basically 2/3 are either all 600 or one step down, 59.5. But I've got 2 lineups leaving 2,500, 30 leaving 3,000, and 15 leaving 3,500.
Okay. How many leaving? So that's, we said 30, 45.
I've got 1/3 of my lineups leaving at least 2,500.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Teddy Wayman said, I asked Eric and Greg yesterday, but I'm curious if y'all, I'm so uncomfortable saying that word still, Josh.
Not me, man. 12 years in the South. That is my word now.
I've never heard you say it. I don't think you ever.
I say it way more than you'd think.
Jordan, can you think of a time that Josh has said y'all? Like, do you say like, hey, y'all hit that like button, y'all?
No, I don't become Yosemite Sam when I do a show. Remember, the inner Pollock in me is also fighting the Southern
easy
person.
Now, pal. Easy.
It's my word. I can say whatever I want.
Easy there, guy. This is a family show.
We're sponsored by Odd Shopper. We can't lose that one.
Odd Shopper too. Yeah. Check it out. Everything's
I'll say it on this show. I got a nice swag bag from Prize Picks. I'll talk about it tomorrow during the process.
Nice. That's pretty sweet.
I don't mind saying it on an Odd Shopper show. I didn't want to say it this morning on a non.
Oh, that's what you were talking about, matching colors.
Yeah, hats and T-shirt and hoodie and long sleeve T-shirt and a football helmet, which I don't know what I would do with, but thank you, Prize Picks.
Wait, like full size?
No, not full size, like a novelty size.
I was gonna say,
if I was a full size, I'd be wearing that during the process show tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, forget the lip tattoo. You got to put pads on with the Prize Picks helmet to do an entire show like that.
I've never worn pads in my life.
We'd find them. You weren't. I can't say that.
Go ahead. I didn't play football growing up.
No, Jordan knows where I was going with that. All right.
I think I know where you were going with that too.
But he said, but I'm curious, have y'all what?
Cade Cunningham out.
Let me hit the super chat and then we'll get to it. Okay. Have y'all seen Letterkenny? And if not, I think you should. People have told me to watch it. It doesn't seem like my style, but yeah, people have recommended that I watch that show.
I watched the first season. There are parts of it that are really funny. It's really repetitive.
Okay.
It's obviously better if you like my particular hobbies.
It's not sketch comedy, right?
No.
Okay. So Rodney Magruder's in and Cade is out.
Yep. Well, all 100 of my lineups need to get changed.
There you go. So, all right. Let's buckle down here.
Yeah.
Oddshopper.com, by the way. Everything is free. I used it for the betting video to build a same game parlay because there's not much else to do. But we have some real nice ones with our projections over there. Look super good. Someone was talking about the Mo Bamba blocks today. Yeah, we got Bamba as a very nice expected ROI play. I mean, a few of them are really nice. You can sort by XROI, expected win rate. You can filter any stat. You've got the parlay builder, which now you can use for any sport, right? Like, so you can combine sports. Even if today you can only use one from this game for a parlay, we'll give you a parlay with hockey and basketball and whatever else is out there. So check it out, oddshopper.com. You don't have to pay for it either. But yeah, I'll be using this heavily tonight for sure. Oh, we already got props for tomorrow up? Yeah, okay.
Word.
I already got some props for tomorrow up. That's interesting. So
I want to ask chat this question because I think it's important, and I don't think that you know this answer either. Last game, Cade out. Rodney Magruder starts, plays his rotation through the third quarter, does not see the floor again. Did he get hurt? Is that the reason he was questionable coming in today? Yeah, or did he not play?
He left the game.
He left the game with like 3 minutes into the third quarter.
I'm almost positive I remember seeing that alert. Hold on. Yes. He did.
Okay. So that obviously changes things. Like if he just didn't play, there's a very different way to look at that rotation than he's just gone, you know? I don't know. 28 minutes for Rodney Magruder changes the game up a little bit for him.
How many minutes do you think he plays?
At no less than 26, probably. I'll be like 28 to 30. I assume he's starting again. I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yeah, there's no reason he wouldn't. They get nobody back, but they lose Jeremy Grant. Right. So, yeah. Magruder played 7 minutes.
Technically, they get Saban Lee back.
That's true. I still don't think Saban Lee starts.
No, neither do I.
So 7, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 first half minutes, 4 to start off the second half. Yeah.
Right? Like he could play upwards of 32, 34 if this is ultra competitive and that's the direction they want to go. But I mean, just getting first quarter, second quarter, third quarter type run is going to get them into the 20s and probably some little bit of the fourth. So, you know, no less than 26 seems pretty set in stone.
It's also interesting because Livers was on the court for basically every minute that Magruder wasn't, outside of like a brief stretch in the fourth where he took a 3-minute break and then came back, right? Livers played 8, 9, 10, 11, played 13 straight minutes and then 4 to close the game out. So he played 17 of the last 20 minutes in that game. And that wouldn't, I don't think that there's no way that happens if Magruder, maybe Livers played a lot in the first half too.
Almost Made says, still seeing Cade as a game time decision. Go like this with your eyes and then look again.
I don't think that's going to work.
Well, I mean, it might.
Unless you're still looking on DraftKings. They still have not updated Chuma Okeke as out. Maybe they won't update Cade either. Maybe they just took the day off.
I don't blame them. They're all wrecked from St. Pat's.
Yeah.
DK's in Boston, right?
I was going to say, yeah, their main headquarters is in Boston. Let's do it this way. We will, because actually Detroit now is a lot more difficult. Let's work our way through the rotation.
Okay.
Instead of going position by position, let's get the easiest stuff out of the way first. Sadiq Bey, close game. You projected him for 36, could play 38 or more, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I got him in for 36.
Okay. It's 36, right. Outside of that, you have Corey Joseph, who you astutely pointed out was in constant foul trouble last game. Assuming Corey Joseph is not in foul trouble today, you're probably looking at anywhere from 32 to 35 minutes.
Wait, say that last one again.
Corey Joseph probably plays 32 minutes tonight.
I don't think it changes Corey Joseph's outlook.
What do you think he plays?
28.
Really?
Yeah.
where do the remaining minutes go? Killian Hayes.
I think Jamorko Pickett is now a part of the rotation for 2 rotations. I think Saban Lee is going to play today. I think Corey Joseph and Hayes are basically going to, like Saban, however we want to qualify this. Like Corey Joseph's going to play 28 minutes. Killian Hayes is going to play like 20 minutes. And then we're going to add in Saban Lee minutes as well at the 2 or the 1, like however you want to classify those guys through the 1 and the 2.
So you still see Joseph and Hayes as mutually exclusive, right? Just starter.
I think they have a slight chance to play a little bit alongside each other now.
So do I. That's why
2 to 4 minutes.
So, right. So that's where I came up with the 32. 35 is a stretch, but maybe you're not projecting Joseph for that, but I do think it's there. 4 or so minutes alongside each other. Corey Joseph gets to maybe I'll back up 30, 32. I think is very reasonable in a spot like this.
He doesn't really ever do that. I mean, sometimes it's very rare, and it's usually because people are out.
Well, he played 35 and 31 with Hayes out, but he can get there.
Yeah, but it's because Hayes is out.
No. I know, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if there was some overlap here because you're not just down Grant and Diallo, but you're also down Cunningham, who's playing 40 minutes a night. You have Magruder, so that's significant. But you have to project Magruder for at least 30 minutes tonight. You have to.
I went 28.
Okay. 16 minutes in the first half, though. Is there really any reason to believe that he's not closing over like Isaiah Livers?
Yes, it's the Pistons.
I guess, but even the Pistons are giving these guys big minutes regardless. So, all right, fine, 28. That doesn't make a huge difference anyway, right? He's super cheap.
Right.
How do we work out the rest of the minutes?
I mean, Saban Lee is a giant question mark. Jamorko Pickett is a giant question mark. 2 guys I don't really know what to do with. I mean, does Livers close again? I don't know. He played. If we ignore the closing run, he played 27 minutes.
Yeah, he played a ton in the first half. In the first half. Now, granted, but here's the thing, though. This is what makes it difficult because, I guess not. So Isaiah Stewart got in foul trouble. Bagley ate up all of those minutes, right? Bagley ate up every minute. Bagley was on the floor for every minute. He was a direct sub to Stewart in both of those rotations.
Yeah.
What do you think the starting lineup is?
Corey Joseph, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart.
Those are the locks.
Yeah. Rodney Magruder.
Do you think Bagley at the 4?
This team.
So hold on a second.
I don't have a great feel.
Casey is saying Cunningham's a game time decision now.
Cade Cunningham is on the injury report as out.
I know. This is the shit that's just ridiculous, man. On a 1 game, Jordan over there just eating it up, laughing. He doesn't have to worry about it. All right. I don't have a good feel for this either. So
Corey Joseph is starting. Sadiq Bey is starting. Isaiah Stewart is starting. And I don't know why Rodney Magruder wouldn't start, considering he started last time.
I agree. And I would also say, Arca tells us Hayes Magruder. I don't think Hayes starts here because he could. Anything could happen. But Hayes starting would make things a little weird in that backcourt.
I would be surprised if Killian Hayes started.
I personally think it's going to be Bagley at the 4. I think what you could see is Case. What's that?
I could see it.
I think you could just see Stewart get shorter rotations too, or shorter starting rotation in the first quarter rotation. I still like Bagley a lot off the bench. I don't really care where he plays, to be honest with you. I think he still gets good minutes today.
I don't know if Bagley's going to start if they've been using him as Isaiah Stewart's straight backup.
Well, it's also not out of the question, though, that this is the problem.
Like, I think they're more likely to start Olynyk.
I don't. I think you could just see Isaiah Stewart play a couple extra minutes and Kelly Olynyk get all the backup run, like 18 minutes.
I think we're going to end up in the same spot, but it wouldn't surprise me if it were Olynyk. They maintain the Bagley as the backup thing and then sort of just like spread it out later.
It's possible. This is why live before lock is going to be really important tonight. Really important. And our boy El Negro Loco iced up with the 12-month badge. Love it. Says, I'm watching the situation closely. Yeah, report back when you get something. Let us know what's going on. I think we should talk about the Magic now, because at this point we're spinning our wheels, right? We can't say much right now until we get some information.
Right.
So
yeah, like we're going to get all of that information by 6:30. So
I'm saying, like, live before lock is going to be huge. Greg and Eric got you all the way up until 7. We can set you up so you know where to go, but they'll definitely be able to give more insight into that once we get some information.
I think Kelly Olynyk's going to start.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if
he was the direct backup for Jeremy Grant in the last game. In the first half. Came in for him, played every single minute that he wasn't on the floor. When he came out, Grant came back in.
Yeah. They only overlapped for like 4 minutes.
And that was second half stuff once people were picking up fouls and shit. I think Kelly Olynyk's going to start at the 4.
Well, if Kelly Olynyk starts at the 4, then you have to give him like at least 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a phenomenal play because it's Kelly Olynyk and he'll crush your dreams. But
I mean, I just look at it like if he was the direct backup, I don't know why he wouldn't slide immediately into the starting role when the guy that's directly ahead of him leaves.
Well, like you said,
they seem to be considering Kelly Olynyk a 4 and Marvin Bagley a 5.
Well, like you said,
it's the Pistons.
It's the Pistons.
Yes.
So we don't know. With Orlando, now you have no Wendell Carter Jr. 200 likes. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. 200. Hey, come on, Josh. For a one gamer, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
I mean, it's pretty good here. Like 800 viewer, not bad. 200 likes, not bad. I mean, 300 should be pretty easy, right?
You think so? You think we can?
They should be able to get over 500 by the end of live before lock.
Yeah, that's a stretch. We'll see what we can do. I don't know. Got some good people here.
Maybe we should just stay on live before lock too.
Super. How do I say that?
Jinchuriki.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what it is.
You don't know that.
I'm quite confident.
Could be Jinchuriki.
Nah, it's
Jeep Cherokee. Could be Jeep Cherokee.
Yes, it's Jeep Cherokee.
What do y'all think about Franz Wagner? Well, I'm glad you asked. We can get into that right now. 240 likes. We can get into that right now. Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Chuma Okeke's out. I know I keep saying this, and I'll say it one more time. He's still listed questionable on DraftKings. Do not let that. Don't be the person. Do not be that guy or girl that makes lineups based on the injury designations on DraftKings right now. Don't do it. Official injury report, Chuma Okeke's out. How does the Wendell Carter and Chuma Okeke situation affect these forwards and the front court?
It blows everything up, and this is turning into a really ridiculous slate that I'm excited to play.
It's so nuts.
It's unappealing, but also really, really appealing. So the last time that Wendell Carter Jr. and Suggs were both out was Saturday, March 5th. And on Saturday, March 5th, they got their asses kicked by Memphis. But the starting lineup had Okeke in it. Franz Wagner, Mo Bamba, RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony. So basically, RJ Hampton became Jalen Suggs, which isn't all that surprising. That's the way that I'm moving forward here. But with Wendell Carter Jr. out and now Okeke out, I think Mo Wagner is going to be the guy that steps into that lineup. and he's going to play a shit ton. I mean, he played 27 minutes on that date. Now, he did play from the middle of the third quarter straight through to the end of the game. Don't necessarily know if he closes. That's up in the air at that point. But I mean, I figure, you're going 24 to 28 on Mo Wagner. And I think you could land kind of anywhere you want and be comfortable with that.
The Wagner brothers get the start alongside each other.
Bagley is starting. They want to play this guy. They traded for him. Woof, man. Woof.
They can still play him 32 minutes, 30 minutes off the bench.
Yeah. Or they could also not care because his contract isn't guaranteed next year and he sucks and he was a salary dump, but we can go either direction.
Either way, he's going to play a lot of minutes is what I'm saying.
At the very least, he's going to be the backup center and play 21 minutes. That's his floor.
Cola said Bagley's been starting. Yeah, wasn't it Stewart that was out for like 2 weeks though? Wasn't he starting for Stewart? I have a bad memory, but he was starting.
Yeah, Stewart missed 3 games.
3 games. It felt like longer. I felt like he was supposed to be out longer than that.
I honestly don't know.
He said he meant to ask about Mo. All right, so let's just do this.
Let's just do it.
Let's talk minutes. Minutes on a spot like this are what matters the most. Instead of us, going off about everything else. Minutes for Bamba. Good luck with this one because it could be 15 or 35.
I gave him 28. That felt about right.
I have 28 as well. But
yeah, I mean,
with Bamba,
it's 28 feels in the ballpark of correct. I think you can go anywhere from like 26 to 30 and feel pretty comfortable.
Minutes for Mo Wagner.
I mean, that's the hardest one to peg down. 24.
Franz.
So much of this has to do with like, how many minutes do you think Robin Lopez is playing? Because
I know
he's in this industry. He's everywhere from 4 to 24. And that's a pretty big range. Franz Wagner, 30 to 32. I mean, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, to me, those 3 guys are like pretty easy.
Someone said we already have the Orlando starters. And then someone asked if we were ignoring them. No, not ignoring you, just trying to
we also don't have the Orlando starters.
Yeah, we got it. It was Anthony, Hampton, Franz, Mo, and Bamba.
When did that get released?
Like 30 minutes ago. We were deep in this Pistons shit.
Gotcha. I didn't see that come through. Did we?
I didn't either. You know why? Because it came through with a feed of other stuff. So, yeah, Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, and Bamba. So,
did we not tweet that out?
I don't know, but
where you at on that one, News God?
Everybody's in play.
Yeah. So Mo Wagner now, I don't know, 26 at a minimum for me.
For minutes on Wagner, yeah. Everyone's in play. This is out of control. We just updated ownership 10 minutes ago, so let's see what Orlando ownership looks like. I'll use DraftKings. You can pull up FanDuel. So Cole Anthony 67%, 17% in the captain spot. We got free tools today too. If you want to get in on that, player projections are free for NBA. NHL ownership projections are also free. You got. You got Bomb at 58, Franz at 56. I'm just giving you guys all the goods today. Mo Wagner at 53. That's crazy. There's your front court. Bomb 58, Wagner 56. Franz Wagner 56, Mo Wagner 53, and 10, 9, and 9% in the captain spot, Josh.
Wagner looks good.
Which one?
Mo.
Okay. Moritz.
Yes. News God said he was tilting Iowa.
Get Get on it, man. Anthony says, I'm following this closely. Granted,
Yeah.
I know he's talking about the Pistons.
I just knew that I didn't see a lineup in the Awesemo NBA column in my tweet deck.
Well, we know now. We do
know now. I mean, Mo Wagner clearly looking good at 4,600.
How much Fultz do you want to get to?
Barely any.
Listen, go ahead.
He's just so, unless he just plays an amount of minutes that we have no reason to suspect, I don't know how you go there. Like Mo Wagner should play more minutes as the same rate player by like a lot. And, they're basically the same price. It's really hard to go to Fultz. What's Fultz ceiling here in minutes? 22?
So you have no Suggs, right?
He's played 16, 15, 19, 17, 18, 19, 20. They're just not playing him, which, by the way, they shouldn't.
No, at this point, there's zero reason to.
Right.
Just want to see something real quick. So he does play some minutes alongside Cole Anthony.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
No. But
which makes sense.
You're right. 20 minutes. I'd give him 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think you can give him upwards of 22, and it's never going to make him look better than Mo Wagner.
On a per minute basis, he has been good, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah. He's a fantasy point per minute guy normally. I just there's no right tail for me for him.
Right.
I have a ceiling at 30 and a half at 20 minutes. Call it 34, 35 if he gets 22 minutes. I mean, that's good, but we're talking about an outcome that's, I don't know, like a 4% chance.
Yes, Adi, these are the two worst teams for this. And not just that, with all the injuries, it gets even worse. Here's what I'm going to do, Josh. I'm going to do Awesemo Hall of Fame. And then we're gonna close this with some lineup construction. I think that'll be helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh, he gets this many minutes. But minutes are everything, to be fair. On a slate like
especially like this, yeah.
It's a slate like this, yeah. But let's make this happen. And then we'll do lineup construction and toss. We got 900 people watching. It's a beautiful thing for a 1-game slate between two of the worst teams in basketball. So much obliged. Awesemo Hall of Fame. I haven't done this in a while. Been on Breaks of God.
Breaks again.
Someone acted like you were annoyed when I said that today on the tweet. You weren't annoyed. You're all about it.
Yeah, I'm team Breaks of God, man.
Yeah, your team South Park. Your team South Park. I'll talk about this later. I would love to get in. There's one episode that I wanted to add. Do you remember Miss Teacher Bangs a Boy, the Cartman is the hall monitor, the dog, the bounty hunter?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where they come in and they're like, Kyle runs into the police station and he's like, the teacher is having a relationship with one of the students, and they're like, oh my God, who is it? Who is he? And he's like, it's a she, and they go, nice. Just like, because that's just the way it worked. But I know you remember that way. He runs into the police station.
Of course.
Bear Mace. All right.
So good.
Awesemo Hall of Fame. Jordan had to put it back on the screen because I just went wild here. And thank you, Jorge. I'll get to that in 1 second. If you haven't done so yet, rock the Awesemo avatar, man, because you can get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. $90 value. All you got to do is go to awesemo.com/avatar and download that avatar. Use it wherever you want. DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, doesn't matter. And after you're done with that, get a win. Finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. Hit us up. Tweet us at Awesemo HOF. Include Josh and me because we like to see that stuff. Get your free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. But more importantly, that's pretty great too. But get yourself up in the Hall of Fame. Get inducted here. Who doesn't want to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Jordan, tell me we have 8. Yeah, we have like a million of these. All right. Harrison Edmonds, very small stakes, but I just want to say these were completely naked projections, and I won everything from a 5-minute crunch. Matt Kajeski is the best in the business. Yes, he is. Appreciate you, man. Good win.
Yo, that guy stole your name.
Huh?
I always thought you were Dr. 2-inch.
Did you? It's odd. To be fair, odd that you would know that, but
I heard from
odd. Oh, you had the purple shirt on.
Yeah.
Dave,
she told me we laughed about it for a bit.
Not a bad result for last minute golf showdown. Golf lineup. Weather was brutal and so was the sweat, but I'll take Eric Lindquist, Jazz Raz, Awesemo, HOF. Nice stuff, man. Like seeing you up there, Dave. Jesus Figueroa. Thanks for the content, fellas. 1,500. Get it, fella. 30K Tuesday pick and roll. JG Fantino. Nice little hit last night. I used the same Fibonacci retracement method as they use in Forex analysis to predict these outcomes. Let's see if it continues. He hit like a 16 layer the other day too. Congrats. And Jacob, my first big hit and had to share it with Awesemo. And thanks for the content and free shows. I always hit that like button. Fucking better, man. Congrats. JP Lee, $3,550. Boom. And then Joseph Butler, $750. At Awesemo. Man, a few words, but we love it. We welcome everybody, whether you're new, whether you're not. And listen, even if you don't qualify for the Hall of Fame, but you still want to get it up here, like you don't qualify for, would you just rip a nasty fart?
No, you can keep going. Sorry.
Okay. Even if you don't qualify for the free month, but you're proud of the win, hit us up and maybe we'll get you up here, get you inducted. All right. Yeah. That is awesemo.com.
Former GM Donnie Nelson is suing the Mavericks. He is claiming that he was fired for reporting sexual misconduct to the team.
Really?
Yikes.
Wow. Okay.
If they find out that's true, they're going to make Mark Cuban sell the Mavericks.
Guy should have kept his mouth shut. I'm kidding. I mean, that is awful. If that's actually true, joking, by the way, don't get all, that's really not for Mark Cuban. It's bad for anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like for you to do something like that and be like, pal, shut up. Either you're quiet or you're gone.
Yeah.
That I won't say that's like the end for Mark Cuban. Guarantee he's off Shark Tank. Tell you that much.
I think it's the end of Cuban in the NBA because it's not the first problem.
No.
Don't forget about that scandal from a couple of years ago. Like they might just be like, okay, you got to get out.
That's bad. It
could also just be not true. So we'll see.
That's the thing, dude. A lot of times this stuff is so frivolous that nothing holds up at all. But this is going to make waves in the media because they eat this shit up.
Yes.
Wow. All right.
Cuban wrote, everything in that filing is a lie.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time people have canceled or have fired somebody for reporting something that they wanted swept under the rug, especially in like multi-billion-dollar organizations. But we'll see. It's crazy. Anyway, Ken Mars, welcome to Team Awesemo, brother. Appreciate you. And Jorge, $50 super chat, Josh. What's your favorite low price pick for the only extremely boring match today? And thanks for the content and tips.
I'm going to assume it's a DraftKings thing. And it's probably Rodney Magruder for me.
Okay. So let's do this. We close it out here. We got sidetracked on that Cuban stuff.
Right? Yeah.
From a lineup construction standpoint, if we're looking at very simply, what are the ways to do things differently? We talked about it was Cade not having all of them in the MVP spot, but that goes out the window. Now you can just do whatever we want. Yep. So before we toss this over to Live Before Live, what's one best way to, and it doesn't have to be like play this player, but is there any one way to be different? Is it leaving salary? Is it playing maybe a real low captain ownership guy in the captain spot on a site like DraftKings? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting different at captain is pretty easy now. We've got 43 or 44% of captain ownership going to Sadiq Bey and Cole Anthony. I mean, in a game like this with two garbage teams that, if this game gets out of hand, like we might see both teams play 11 or 12 guys, like 26 minutes. And at that point in time, you might be able to get there with an Isaiah Stewart at 5,400 or Killian Hayes gets the minutes that, Corey Joseph gets in foul trouble again. Killian Hayes at 2% becomes that guy and unlocks more pay up options. So while I like Bay and Anthony, I think that's just the easiest way to be different in a larger field contest.
All right. Well, we are over. So would people expect anything different of us?
No, absolutely not.
I thought it was a good show.
You and me both.
And we just hit 300 likes on a one game. So
hit it again. Let's get up to 400, baby. Woo!
Appreciate you guys. Eric, Greg, coming up next. Remember, head over to OddsShopper. Check out everything totally free. Fun for tonight, too, especially the parlay builder. Don't go anywhere. Big hour coming up. Big hour. More stuff could happen. I would not shock me whatsoever. These guys got you covered. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Deeper Dive presented by OddsShopper. Peace.
It's a big hour. I looked at the hour. I said, wow, that's a big hour.
I haven't looked at
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock show presented by OddsShopper. I'm Eric Lindquist. Going to be excited to talk you through this one-game slate, or as I like to call it, the Georgia Southern watch party here. I can't, or sorry, Georgia State. I don't even know what team I'm watching right now, but I'm loving every second of this because if Gonzaga loses, it would be incredible. Excited to get started here. And that guy that I'm going to be talking through this NBA slate / this college basketball game with is my buddy Greg Ehrenberg at Ehrenberg DFS. How you doing, my dude?
Yeah, I wish the NBA slate was a little bit better tonight. It's not the best. Do you think this is the best slate of the season or no?
No. I don't even have a joke about it. Oh, Cade Cunningham confirmed out. We already knew that, but I guess their head coach doesn't. What a fun time to be alive.
Yeah, it was news to him that Cade Cunningham wasn't playing because we got the Pistons injury report. I don't know, what was that, 40 minutes ago or so? Yeah. And Cade Cunningham was listed out on the injury report. So then Dwayne Casey's asked at the press conference, is Cade Cunningham playing? He goes, he's a game time decision. And then I was like, okay, this is exactly what we need for a Magic Pistons 1-game slate, is going into lock and not knowing if the only decent player in the game is going to be in there or not. But now I know for sure he's going to be out. It was reasonable to assume he wasn't going to play, but it's never great when these dumb coaches add any kind of wrinkles into the program.
It's so dumb. I mean, can you just can somebody send a telegram? Because text is not working, obviously, or communication, right? I don't understand how could this possibly happen at the most elite level. There's only 32 teams in the NBA. There's really not that much to keep track of. There's 30 teams in the NBA. There aren't even 32, are there?
But the other thing, too, is, a lot of these teams are hardly NBA teams, and 2 of them are playing tonight. But I think here's kind of a fun game to play. Which team is more likely to be in the NBA Finals this year, the Pistons or the Magic?
Mathematically, wouldn't it be the Magic?
Have the Pistons officially been eliminated from the playoffs?
I think they have. I mean, they have to have at this point, right?
Let's see. I'll check.
I'm double
Who
checking.
do you guys think? Chat, let us know. Who's more likely to be in the NBA? We'll say who's more likely to be in the NBA
They're both
Finals?
18. They both have 18 wins. Detroit is 18-51. Orlando's 18-52. So technically, mathematically, it would be the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah. They have both been, not only have they both been eliminated from the playoffs, they're the only 2 teams in the NBA that have been eliminated from the playoffs.
That seems bad.
It's not great.
Seems bad. It's not great. So same thing with this Georgia State team, down 4 now, 10-26. If it starts getting out of hand, I'll turn it off here, but it's really hard and enticing to be watching here at the moment. But while we're being professional and everything, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell here for Greg and I. We are grinding here in the middle of some basketball. The game that was supposed to be a game, North Carolina Marquette, is not, and then Georgia State Gonzaga. But I got to say, before we get started and talk NBA, Iowa. I'm an Iowa State grad. Normally I would relish in this kind of a loss, this kind of a collapse, but my God, it feels awful to know that a Final Four team that I have picked was an Iowa Hawkeye team that I could have just not picked and really enjoyed my day. And now it's like totally derailed my entire St. Patrick's Day. I don't even know what to say. Like, it was the most spineless, gutless loss you're ever going to see from a team that has arguably the best scorer in college basketball. I mean, did you watch that thing? It was pathetic.
Yeah, and it's funny because we get, for whatever reason, March Madness comes around, and this happens to a smaller extent with main sports, but I see it every year with college basketball. No matter who you pick to win, if they lose the game, it's the ref's fault. There's no other, and it's not to say the reffing is perfect, but there's just no way that everybody believes that in every game the refs have rigged every single game against them. It happens every single year with NCAA. I don't know why that's the case, but for everybody's convinced every losing game is on the refs in the tournament. But they sucked. They had a lot of open shots. They came nowhere close to making.
Same thing with my South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I've got 3 teams in the tournament. I have a feeling that Duke will have an early exit. My alma mater, I can't really see them going very far. I bet they lose to LSU. And I had Iowa going, and that didn't pan out here. Jackrabbits done. It's a sad day for me. So I guess I am excited for this basketball slate here. 49 minutes to go. We're presented by OddsShopper. We'll talk about them here a little bit later. But as I said, smash that like button. We do have NBA player projections available for you to check out. You're welcome for this lovely slate. NHL ownership projections. Those are also available if you're playing that 10 gamer. Seems like fun. I would maybe I'll throw in some NHL lineups while we're building here as we go, but let's get to it. I normally would ask you, like, what's the injury news we're waiting on? I don't think that that's the case, but Greg, is there a piece of news you're waiting on that's going to dictate what you do with your lineups in the Showdown slate the most?
What news could I possibly be waiting on, Eric?
Starting lineups. I don't know.
Sure, I guess. No, there's nothing that's going to change my stupid lineups that I built for this.
Greg, I'm trying to host a show.
I get it. And I know improv, yes, and all that. So I don't really care. This is a stupid slate and I'm unhappy about it. Now, early in the day, I was like, am I really going to play this? But then I'm on live before lock and I'm obligated to put money on it. So I've built my lineups here.
Yes.
I'm playing on DraftKings though, not FanDuel, mostly because FanDuel had one significant size contest and it was the $9 and it paid out like 50% of the prize pool the first place. And I'm like, that's a little bit ridiculous. Are you playing on FanDuel? And I've builds for both sites, but I've only entered lineups on DraftKings. Are you playing on both FanDuel and DK?
Well, I'm playing one lineup on FanDuel because they have the free roll over there today. So I have like a contest for the VIP stuff. So I'm like, well, they just want me to enter lineups in this thing and I'm not going to do it. I'm building one lineup over there and I'm playing on DraftKings as well. So I'm with you. I think that's the more prudent way to go about it. It's NCAA tournament day. It is a day not made for the NBA. The NBA sold out. So I'm going to sell out too here and just play DraftKings. It'll be fun. Happy St. Paddy's Day from Ireland from Craig Kearns. That's good stuff. Just confirmed on don't put that name. That we have the news guy. He's keeping you guys informed. Check that out. SDSU, real sad, Eric. Yeah, that was not great. Duke will win it for Coach K. They need better players in order to win it, but there's that. They're just not playing very good basketball.
Duke will win it for Duke.
Oh,
right?
For little Dookie. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm sure that's on their minds.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what they're thinking about. Who's the MVP on FanDuel? All right, let's get into the analysis here, my friend. So with no Wendell Carter Jr. and Cade Cunningham in this game, it is wide open. Let's talk strategy before we go guard, forward, center, or, however you want to break this down, I suppose, because this is your show too. I just think we got to talk about what you're planning to do, because by default, you're leaving tons and tons of salary on the table as you're building lineups. I'm building out 40 on DK here for today's slate. That's going to be the extent of my madness here. How much salary are you looking to leave on the table?
Well, now that Wendell Carter Jr. and Cade Cunningham are both officially out, there's no way to not leave salary on the table. And if you're just playing all the highest priced guys, then you're duping with what percentage of the field? Like it's the equivalent of picking Gonzaga to win the NCAA tournament. You're just locking arms with everybody and everybody's doing the same thing. Let's see. I'm going to sort my DK lineups right now by the amount of salary I've left on the table. The lineup I have with the I have one lineup that's using $38,000 in salary.
That's so great. I was about to have this conversation where I said, this might be the first showdown I can remember in a long time. Like maybe since I think Milwaukee, when they rested like their entire starting five last year, I think they were the evening showdown slate. And I think that was the last time that I remember seeing it. I didn't play that slate, but that was the last time I remember leaving this much salary or being capable of leaving that much salary on the table. I mean, it is just bonkers what you're looking at doing here. And we got a lot of different questions about who the highest raw projected scorer you have is. And I think that that's going to make sense for this super chat we got right from the get-go as we kicked off this show from Michael McKinney. Favorite MVP and star play on FanDuel cash game. I'm going to just assume, Greg, that means give me your top two projected players in this game.
Yeah. So by the way, God bless you if you're playing cash games for a Pistons Magic one game, single game contest over on FanDuel. For me, if you're talking about cash games, I think the answer is Sadiq Bey because it's the dumbest thing ever, but that's what I've projected for the most fantasy points in this game. So he is the number one cash game MVP. And then what's the second part of the question?
Then who the next guy would be? Cole Anthony for me or Mo Bamba in whatever order you want.
Yeah, that would be. That's actually pretty close after that. It's slightly leaning towards Cole Anthony, though. They're close.
I'm with you. I think Cole Anthony would probably be the guy that I would prefer there. Just gets a little bit more usage there. I will say on FanDuel, Mo Bamba maybe a little bit of a bump up just because you get more of the upside in terms of steals, blocks, and he could be a guy who does that. I mean, he could be looking at 32 minutes, which is drastically different than some minutes allotments we've had of him of late. I mean, he's just bipolar depending on fouls. I mean, one game, I guess he had 5 fouls against Philly, but he was in there for Embiid purposes, 33 minutes there, and then 17 the next one. I mean, it's been all over the place, but now with no Wendell Carter, I think he's pretty darn secure. But let's get to a guard position, my friend. You talked about Cole Anthony here. I think he's by far the best guard play that we have here. I mean, everybody kind of gets lumped in together in terms of salary, but the reason I'm kind of talking about it specifically from positions is that we have Corey Joseph, RJ Hampton, Markelle Fultz, Killian Hayes, and if you want, are just the bravest person on planet Earth, Saban Lee here, who I believe has rejoined the basketball team for this evening. So where are you kind of looking at going at the guard position? Who are some of your favorite plays?
Yeah. So, I mean, do we even want to sort by guard, or should we just go by salary?
Yeah, we can go by salary. Let's do that, because like we're talking about guys who are just raw projected players, and like normally on these shows we're going position by position because it sets up that way, and that's how you're building an 8-person lineup on DraftKings, 9 on FanDuel. Well, we don't have that. We're just in a pick'em situation here today, and so who do you have projected? Between Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, is there any kind of like a stand that you're taking one way or another on the highest projected players on the slate?
Let's see. I have 61% Cole Anthony and 55% Mo Bamba, although that also doesn't include the captain ownership. I'm just looking at utility. So I have a lean towards Cole Anthony. Obviously, there's massive upside right now in Mo Bamba. One thing I do find a little bit interesting is I think that Cole Anthony is going under-owned in the captain spot. If we look at him right now, he's projected for 17% captain ownership over on DraftKings. And then do we want to talk about FanDuel and DK separately, or just hit them both at the same time?
Hit them both, because they're projected so tightly that I think we just got to kind of talk about who we expect to score the most fantasy points, period, end of story.
So here's where Cole Anthony is really different. He is projected for 28% MVP ownership on FanDuel, whereas on DraftKings, he's projected for 16.8% captain ownership. So I look at those different numbers. FanDuel, I think, is one to be overweight to, and then DK is one to be overweight to. FanDuel is one to be underweight to. Given the limited salary constraints, we could basically play whoever we want. I don't really understand how Cole Anthony becomes somewhat of a contrarian captain on DK, but is chalk on FanDuel.
I think that's fair. It has more to do with the fact that Mo Bamba gets that bump up for stocks. And I think you're going to see him get 2-3 more projected points in terms of what people are looking at over there from looking at their optimizer. That's kind of the way that it sets up, at least for me, is that I think Mo Bamba gets that bump up, and that's going to catapult him up there a little bit more. I'm going between, as you said, MVP, Saddiq Bey, by far the highest there. It's just... that's kind of strange. That's a strange thing that I'm seeing here right now. Let me grab this. I have something going on weird with my table. I think it's just kind of malfunctioning going, because normally I sort the boom bust tool. Oh, we don't have ownership listed on it. Okay, that's good. So we have the boom percentages on the boom bust tool. We don't have the other stuff. Carry on. That's all I had to say there. But that would be the reason, is Mo Bamba being projected a little bit more there. I think we can pretty safely say that Saddiq Bey is going to be the guy that we want to roster the most in terms of raw points at that MVP spot if we're playing on FanDuel. I am not, other than that one lineup. He will be the guy I put up an MVP there. On DraftKings, I think he'll end up being the guy that needs to be the most rostered there. We have 27.1% captain ownership here at the moment. But if you're not going to roster Saddiq Bey, Cole Anthony, and Mo Bamba, you're running into Marvin Bagley, who is, I think, my favorite tournament captain to be looking at. 11.6% currently in the that we have projected here at Awesemo. What do you think about his potential to be the top scorer on this game?
You said Bagley, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he is also my favorite captain. Unfortunately, the guy I have the most exposure to in the captain spot, because it's Marvin Bagley. How good can you feel about it? But you look at the other options also, and it's like Cole Anthony, Saddiq Bey, Mo Bamba. None of the players are good. It's the reason why these two teams are the only two that have been eliminated from the playoff race so far. Here's the reality with Marvin Bagley. He is a really, really good fantasy producer when he's on the court. And it's a really similar situation to all the times we've talked about Andre Drummond in recent slates. It's just, is he going to be on the court enough or not? And at least given his recent playing time, it looks like he will be. There was that one game where he got into early foul trouble, only played 28 minutes when he was an uber chalk play in a start. And he just hasn't been popular since then, but his fantasy output's been good. 34 minutes against a very good Boston Celtics defense, scores 38.75 DraftKings points. A difficult Clippers defense, 32 minutes, 29 DraftKings points. Then a tough game against Miami. He ends up putting up 25 fantasy points. Also another spot where he got into some foul trouble. But I think that Marvin Bagley is probably the best points per dollar, best points per minute fantasy producer in this game, We're just kind of asking then how many minutes is he going to play?
Yeah, that was a good adjustment there because, again, salary doesn't matter. We have no salary constraints whatsoever. We are talking, this is going to be analysis. That's kind of why it's just like the scoring format on FanDuel where you have one turnover or sorry, -1 for a turnover and then 3 points for the blocks and assists. That's really the only, or for blocks and steals. That's the only difference that we're really looking at here on this slate. That's really the only talking point between the two sites. And then obviously the way that the lineups are set up, but we're just talking about this in terms of raw fantasy points. And Marvin Bagley, I think when given the minutes, has massive, massive upside. I want to get to more of him in the captain spot relative to where the field is on Cole Anthony on DraftKings, 17.2%. Give me more Marvin Bagley than Cole Anthony. Saddiq Bey, I think, is a great play, no doubt about that, up at the top spot. But now we kind of open it up here. Who is the most uncomfortable captain that you are willing to roster on DraftKings for today?
Let's see. Also, I just realized that Cade Cunningham was still in the ownership projections I was looking at.
That was the other thing that was happening for me as I was sorting it in. It was saying that you're over the cap. You're over. And I'm like, what planet am I on? Cade Cunningham was in every lineup.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, though, so we do have updated ownership now that just came out a few minutes ago. And Cole Anthony has gone up a little bit in captain ownership, but it's 17%. It hasn't gone up significantly there. So nothing to be too concerned about there.
Greg, get a smile on your face. Energy up. Yay.
Why do I want to be happy about this? I'm enjoying. Look, this is why I put on this shirt for today.
What is that?
It's specifically for this show. I was like, this is kind of what encapsulates.
I just had to stop you because this is the lowest. Like you were just like, I'm talking about the ownership and the player and the thing that I need to talk about here, and then we're going to carry on to another position, another player.
Remember the was it Eric? Who said I don't want to be here? Was it Eric Bledsoe?
What? I don't want to be here. Yeah, Eric Bledsoe definitely said that about Phoenix. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, kind of how I feel. We're talking about this game. It's.
But you get to hang out with me, and Jordan Klein is in a really good mood over there. Can we get some producer cam? Can we get the double thumbs? I want the double thumbs on the producer cam from Jordan Klein. I think that'll help everybody hit the like button, but don't hit it twice. Just do it one thumb.
Or hit it 3 times.
3 times is the nicest times.
Just hit it an odd number of times. You do
it
1, 3, 5, 101
times. I gave myself a like. That was good.
Whatever you want to do. You know what actually might be a better use of your time than watching this game tonight. Click the like button on and off 1,001 times. You just do it all night. It'll be entertaining.
Jordan Klein didn't even smile. He's smiling constantly behind the screen, but he just put on an act. I want everybody to know Jordan Klein's having more fun than any of us. That's for damn sure. The guy is about to have a day on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but Jordan was so excited for the show just because it's St. Patrick's Day. I didn't even know. He was texting us. I was like, you guys have to wear green. And I'm why am I wearing green? I never put 2 and 2 together. And also, is Jordan even wearing green?
No. Literally, he told me to wear green. I wore green.
I'm not wearing
Greg
green.
Was never doing it. I never expected Greg to.
Yeah, but why does Jordan need everybody to wear green, but he doesn't have to?
I mean, are you boss Jordan Klein now?
You guys are on the show. They can't see me.
Oh, we're on the show. So we can't get pinched or whatever.
We could put Jordan on camera.
Yeah, Jordan. Hey, can you give us some analysis? Hang on. Can Jordan Klein build a lineup here for chat? We can all roll with it. Leave like 10 grand on the table. No.
Yeah. Let's do it. Jordan, who's your favorite pay up options?
Who's your favorite pay up?
Jordan, who's the best captain play?
No, I don't know. No comment. I plead the 5th.
All right.
Rasheed Wallace. I don't know.
Well, don't lie.
I don't know. I'm just saying old Pistons and stuff. All right. Continuing on, my friend. Who is the most uncomfortable captain that you have to roster tonight? Because I listened to nothing you said before.
All right. Let's see. Most uncomfortable captain. By the way, what I was saying before, I was complaining about Jordan not wearing green.
News God, I'm with you. I hate Iowa. I hate them. And I already hated them, but now I really hate them because I actually picked them to do stuff in the tournament.
Most uncomfortable captain. I mean, out of 150 lineups, I have 3% RJ Hampton. That is double the field, I think. We have Hampton at 1.7%. I'm playing him 3%. Does that count?
Yes, RJ Hampton's a great call. So give me the ceiling pitch, elevator pitch for why RJ Hampton should be a guy you expose yourself to.
Well, I try not to expose myself to. Oh, that's not true either. But so so with RJ Hampton,
third leg, Greg.
Here's the argument for RJ Hampton. Everybody in this game is terrible, and he might score 18 fantasy points and be the highest scorer in the game.
Somebody asked earlier, is this the worst day ever at your job? It's not, because I love Greg and I love Jordan and I love chat. You guys are great. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, so the other thing too is, I mean, I'm kind of, obviously we're kind of joking about how bad the slate is. The other thing too is we have to talk about it for an hour. And if we just do nothing but talk about the individual players, we're not going to be able to make it through an hour. Like there just isn't that much to talk about. So kind of playing up a little bit how crappy the slate is, but I've worked real jobs also. So no, this will never, there's nothing I could do here that'll ever be the worst day. I've done inside sales where I just sat at my computer and just dialed people all day. Here's what I used to do, Eric, when I did inside sales right out of college. And when I was doing comedy at the time also, is I would sit there and I would try really hard to hit my quotas early in the day. And then we got measured by the amount of calls we made. I would find a dead number and I would dial it about 1,000 times in a row to make my numbers look better. And I filled my sales quotas. So I would just sit there. I would put like a baseball game on my phone or something, and then just sit there with the phone up and just dial a dead number and then just redial it over and over and over again.
That is why you're Greg Ehrenberg.
Yeah.
I mean, that's working smarter, not harder. Yeah. That's
10-hour work days.
I don't know. I used to run around Los Angeles interviewing for jobs that you don't get, called auditioning. It's not fun. Not the most enjoyable time of my life. So I did a lot of work for no money. That was great, let me tell you. So this definitely beats that. There's no doubt about it. You know what beats everything though, my friend? Awesemo Plus tools and content, and the opportunity to check out some of the smartest minds in the industry in our betting picks Discord right now for $10 off using promo code Let Me See Those Picks. It's one word to all caps. Alex Baker, Ben Raza, Steve Buzzard. Awesemo's industry-leading projection models help identify expected ROI, expected win percentages, and they cater snapshots of these bets to one place, super easy to find. If you're using Discord, you have an opportunity to just add this on for the $10, super easy to do. You have great tournament bets. You have great NBA, NHL. They're posting every single sport you could possibly want in that Discord. It's so fun to check out. I promise you, there's nobody better to get your picks from than those three. I know we'll have other guys kind of stepping in, adding picks as well as we go along. But right now, just $10 off going for, I think it makes like $15. Super, super cheap to check out those picks. So stop guessing, start winning. Join the team at Awesemo for all of your betting needs. And then also, I'm going to throw this one in too while we're at it. Get your best bets in 30 seconds or less. That is Odd Shopper. That is where we're hanging out today. If you want to bet Orlando Magic if you want to bet Orlando Magic and Detroit Piston game tonight, awesome, great, grand. There's obviously a lot of spots where you can maybe find some leverage on things. We have some good expected win percentages. If you want to go to a site like Prize Picks, have an opportunity to parlay a couple of them together to make a good card, you can do that. But now there's also NCAA basketball, highlight, star. If you're watching the NCAA tournament tonight, and I guarantee you probably are, head over to Odd Shopper and check out the NCAA the NCAA basketball bets button in the top left corner. Check out some of the best expected ROI, expected win percentage bets using Awesemo's projections. That is Makajewski spearheading that. He's a stud. We have NHL, we have arbitrage, parlay builder, so many different resources for everything you need in sports betting. So check out Odd Shopper here today. 30 seconds or less. I can click on a game going on in the NCAA tournament. Oh, I want to look at Creighton and San Diego State tonight. I can find expected ROI bets instantly. The over 4.5 for Alex O'Connell sounds great. 68% expected win percentage. It's as simple to use as that. Even a caveman can use it. I mean, that's I don't want to get us in trouble. We can't probably say that one, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Jordan's capable of doing it.
Yeah, Jordan Klein's having quite an evening here today. I'm jealous of Jordan Klein here. All right, let's keep it rolling, my friend. Utility. We've talked about some of our favorite guys. to spend up for. I think pretty much everybody that's above RJ Hampton to some extent, maybe not Kelly Olynyk. Not going to probably do Kelly Olynyk up in the captain spot, but almost everybody above there has some sort of captain viability to a certain extent. But yeah, RJ Hampton's probably my favorite low owned guy. I've got 4% of him. That's 2 shares on my 40%. Or my 40 lineup sounds great. But utility wise, how are you looking to get different in the utility spot here on this slate, knowing that you're going to be leaving salary on the table no matter what? Is there any kind of like a conscious decision you're making to play one of these guys more in the utility spot than the captain spot tonight?
I mean, any of the low end guys, so I said before, RJ Hampton, I'm overweight to him in the captain spot, which isn't saying much. He's 1.5% on. I have 3% of him in the captain spot, but I'm also overweight to him in the utility spot as well. So I think RJ Hampton is somebody who just any of these guys that I think are going to play significant minutes that are like sub 30% owned. There's a reason to kind of roster them, but here's the easiest way. And I think most people are kind of aware of this at this point. The easiest way to get different on this slate is less to do with what the ownership is and more to do with just leaving a bunch of salary on the table. Because like we were saying before, you asked me how much money am I looking to leave on the table? I forget exactly how you phrased it.
You said, so I'm leaving $10,000 on the table. You said 39,000 you had in one lineup, which I think is more than fine.
Yeah. And so I think what a lot of people are going to do is people are going to leave salary on the table. It's unavoidable. But I think some people are just going to be like, oh, I'll leave, 400 or 1,700 on the table. Like you'd leave thousands on the table on this slate. And here's one of the main reasons why. I'm going to sort some of these guys by salary here. And let's see. What's like a good comparison point? All right. So I talked about RJ Hampton. Mm-hmm. I have Hampton projected for mid-20s fantasy points. You know who else I've projected for mid-20s fantasy points is Corey Joseph. I don't think there's a big difference between Corey Joseph and RJ Hampton, but Corey Joseph is 5,000. RJ Hampton is 3,200. If you just have some lineups where it's like, hey, I have Corey Joseph, if you swap that to RJ Hampton, you're swapping $1,800 less in salary for, I don't think, any real projection difference. And those are the kinds of things where I think just like totally throw salaries out the table here and it really almost try to prioritize leaving money on the table.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through lineups, 10,500, 3,600, 4,800, 6,000, 10,100, 10,300. These are all things that I'm doing today. And that's just kind of how it is. I'm trying to think about the best way to approach asking this next question because it might seem stupid or something. But
by the way, we just got a weird expected starting lineup.
Yeah, Joseph, Hayes, Bagley, and Stewart. So we're looking at Killian Hayes joining the fray. Oh joy, what a day to be alive here! Killian Hayes getting a start. He's been playing bigger minutes, 30, 31 in his last 2 appearances. He had a week off in between that, but 31 and 30 minutes. Enters the starting rotation here. Is he somebody we should be looking to get to now in the next 26 minutes, thinking he might be underrepresented somehow?
Let's see. What was his ownership before? Yep, I would assume so. He was projected for 32.7% ownership in the utility spot, overall, which is 2.3 in the captain spot, 30.4 in utility. I think it's reasonable to think that he's going to be under owned now at this point. It's a uptick in role for him. The other thing also, Rodney McGruder was expected to be popular. I get he's really cheap. He is not a good play, in my opinion, now coming off the bench. He's $1,200 in the utility spot. Who cares? We talked about how salary doesn't matter on this. Like, what am I doing with the salary savings of Rodney? We were like, oh yes, I could pay up for more of Sadiq Bey and Cole Anthony and still leave a bunch of salary on the table. I find him to be very unnecessary.
And we always expected Marvin Bagley to start. Like that was never. Yeah, I don't think that was ever in question. But yeah, I just it's nice to get confirmation of it
because of what the starting lineup was last game. I just assumed that it was going to be Rodney McGruder in the starting unit. Not the case. Killian, everything else is the same, but Hayes instead of McGruder.
Yeah. So boosting up Hayes. I mean, I'm curious if I'm going to get to him in the captain spot. Probably not. We'll see. I mean, he probably seems like a guy that might get a little bit more steam in that direction, just because, everybody's looking for maybe the one guy to pivot off and get a little bit different. He's played pretty serviceable in terms of fantasy the last 2 games, bigger minutes. Maybe I get to a couple shares. We'll see kind of how the rates adjust, how everything changes over here at Awesemo. But Hold on. Duke didn't like that. Duke didn't like that for whatever reason. Is that Gonzaga game completely out of hand now? Is it 93-67? Am I looking at this
last
correctly?
I looked, it was not competitive. Like I don't even think Georgia State scored in the second half.
That's so brutal. Somebody said fade Hayes. I'm not going to fade just about anybody that has a pulse on the floor tonight in 40 lineups. Even I doubt there's somebody that I fade. I mean, who's the cheapest guy? Who's like the worst player that you have in a lineup tonight? Gary Harris is my answer.
I mean,
I have a lineup of Gary Harris.
I'm updating my lineups for Killian Hayes starting, and then I'll let you know. I'm also being very, very careful with making sure I upload the right CSV on this particular slate. Here's how I did it. I've been because I always name my CSVs, but now I'm making sure it's just really punctuated. So my CSV, I'm about to name it. Click on this one, you cuck, and I think that should make sure that I really click on the right one when it's time to upload lineups.
Earmuffs, Greg, you fucking savage. How dare
that's
you?
That's not a cuck isn't a bad word.
No, it's not the best word. Jordan Klein had a reaction to it, and that usually tells me because Jordan Klein, for those who don't know, every time we say a word that may or may not be questionable, he gives us a look like this.
Yeah.
It's that. It's literally just that.
I mean, it's not a bad word though. And who cares anyway?
Really
What do we? We're on the.
I've heard Josh Engleman say it before.
We're talking about wagering. We're talking about wagering money, but we're not allowed to say dirty words. We're not allowed to say naughty words. We can't be naughty.
Can't be naughty, dude. Eric, I didn't get my lineups in for golf today on FD. That's bad, DM Brian 007. That's bad. Don't do that. God, it's 93.70. That is just not ideal. Not ideal. But it was fun while it lasted. All right, my friend. Let's update this. Killian Hayes. Where do you project him in terms of like raw fantasy points now that he is starting?
I have him for 25.5 fantasy points.
Okay. So in terms of it goes Sadiq Bey for both of us. I think that's pretty clear cut. Best play. I find it hard to believe that I'm not going to get to him in most lineups, if not all of them in some capacity. Then you have Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Marvin Bagley, Mo Wagner. Probably the next guy, or Franz Wagner? Which one are you kind of looking at getting more of there?
All right. 1 minute. We got the new lineups running and we'll see what it spits out.
The brothers Wagner.
The Wagner brothers. Let's see where. So you said, I could not be close. I have 78 lineups with Franz and 77 lineups with Mo.
That's cute. It's cute.
Could not be close. They're right next to each other, hanging out.
Hey, Michigan played well today.
They did, and they both went to Michigan. Did they end up playing on the same team at all at Michigan?
I think they had some overlap. All I know is that Franz Wagner last year had like one of the all-time worst games you could have to close out your NCAA career. He was horrendous. And Mo Wagner was awesome. I watched him at the Staples Center against Florida State his senior year. They ended up being Florida State to get to the Final Four and then didn't play as well there. But I mean, Mo Wagner looked better on the floor at that period in time than Franz did. That's for damn sure. But Franz is definitely the better NBA player.
At least from a fantasy standpoint, Mo's had his upside. He's always been a good points per minute fantasy producer when he gets on the court.
Rinpack, they did not overlap. How did I know Rinpack was going to come from the abyss to answer that question for us? I didn't even Google it because I knew Rinpack would say something.
Well, he went there, so he would know better than us. And I only watch college basketball during the NCAA tournament, and I don't watch it at any other point. So like Keegan Murray, everybody says this guy's so good. I watched him play today. Like, I don't know about that because I make all of my judgments based on the one game I see them play.
All right, we've got Pistons starting. Somebody asked the starting lineup again. What's the starting lineup for him? Here you are. Joseph, Hayes, Bey, Bagley, Stewart. I guess Stewart's an interesting talking point because it's a guy that came back from injury, has started to play more minutes, but it's just difficult for me to still want to land on him at 22 minutes we saw. I don't know. He's in play because of the slate that we have here. I think you still are going to get to him here, but is he somebody that you're getting to like 35% of in the utility? Because I feel like I'm going to be a little under on him.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time? I was just double checking to make sure I upload the right CSV.
That's very important on a one game slate with this important game that we have in front of us. How do you feel about Isaiah Stewart today?
Yeah, he's one of the guys I'm overweight to, and is I think he's one of the more under-owned players. Just from this standpoint, he's been a really good fantasy producer this year, but he's also had his minutes jerked around a whole bunch for a couple of reasons. Number one, the injury that he had, and then he came back. He was a little bit limited. He also gets into foul trouble a lot. So here are his personal fouls in the last 4 games: 5, 5, 1, and 5. That can make it hard to play extended minutes sometimes. And that also means that we've seen his playing time in those games has also been all over the place. One of those games he also got injured in, but he's a good points per minute fantasy producer, which is more than we could say about the majority of the players in this game. And he isn't all that popular. So he is somebody that I'm about like 1.5x the field on.
I'm going to ask you one more time, Greg, on this one. Who's the worst player that you have exposure to today?
Ooh, okay. All of them.
The right answer.
Who's the worst player in this game?
That I think is playable. I think Robin Lopez is playable, and I'm not playing him. Like, are they going to play Brazdeikis? Is he going to be a guy who ends up playing some backup 5 or 4?
Yeah, I think so.
So then maybe we got to talk about him as well, being kind of the low-owned guy. Again, I go through these rotations all day, and then it's just like at a certain point, I didn't know if I was going to play this slate or not, but there's money to be had. And obviously Rinpack's in the chat, licking his chops, getting ready to win everybody's money, because these are the kind of slates, it's like, just lock Rinpack in for a split of first. Like, just lock it in.
So here's the reason I'm struggling to answer your question, because I just don't know who's worse of the, like, how do I know, like, is Isaiah Livers
who's
worse?
The lowest projected player you have in lineups? That might be the right way of saying it.
All right. Who do I have projected for the least amount of fantasy points that I have in my lineups? Gary Harris, although I think he's better than other players. It's just that he's probably one of the better players in this game in terms of actual basketball, but he's the player with the lowest projection I have in any lineups.
All right. That's a fair way of putting it. Yeah. Gary Harris, I have some lineups of, that was the guy that I answered as being the worst one. Is Brazdeikis in play? Now that I'm even just talking through it, it sounds ridiculous to say as loud, but is Brazdeikis in play for you?
So I didn't project him that poorly. I have him projected for a little over 14 fantasy points. But here's the issue: is due to the fact that salaries don't matter on this slate at all, you probably are going to ultimately need Brazdeikis to outscore guys like Killian Hayes, Corey Joseph, RJ Hampton to actually make it into the optimal lineup. And I don't think it's super likely that, and I'm not totally sold that he's going to play, meaningful minutes in this spot. Okay. So I don't have him in any lineups. I think just from a contrarian standpoint, you can make a reasoning for it. But I still find it hard to think he's going to be in the optimal lineup just based on how the salaries work in this contest.
All right, 16 minutes to go. Get your lineups in, everybody. We're going to continue going through. If you have questions, also fire those up, because again, this is a little bit more conversational than just about any other show that we will have the entire rest of the year. The NBA Finals, at least there's like things in order where you have good teams you're usually talking about. And that helps.
What's the difference?
What's the difference is there's salary limitations when you're talking about those kind of slates. This is just a pick 'em. This is a straight out pick 'em.
Yeah,
so we're trying to get different.
Same quality of basketball, though.
Awesemo plus tools and content for nearly every DFS for $29.95 here right now. Get access to everything we have behind the paywall, not just NBA and NBA Showdown as it is, but we have so many other things with the college basketball projections that I'm sure many of you want to be having access to right now. NHL, PGA, MMA, all those goods. Stop guessing, start winning, and join us here with the best base package you can get. $29.95, $4.95 for the weekly package to just get NBA. If that's what you want, Fantasy Cruncher is extra. It is an add-on that you can get to it, but I promise you, very valuable addition to your DFS arsenal. So check it out. Stop guessing, start winning, and join us here at Awesemo Plus today. All right, 14 minutes to go here, my friend. I'm just kind of putting in the rest of my lineups here. I'm just very, very curious here now. How much Killian Hayes did you end up getting in the captain's spot? I just reran my stuff, and I don't like what I just did.
I don't have that much of him in the captain spot, but I'm way overweight to him in the utility spot.
All right, that's fair, because I had the opposite problem where I I kind of said that I was going to probably end up getting to more of him here, but I ramped up the randomness and, again, everybody is in play here to some extent. Let's see. And now I have no Killian. Oh, there it is. All right. I just got it set. I'm ready to go. 14 minutes to go. You have your Cuck CSV, as it were. Is that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's all good to go. Now that we have Killian Hayes starting, got the CSV updated. Double check. Make sure I clicked on the right one. It's funny because we were texting about it yesterday.
It's great.
I think I might have actually done better on yesterday's slate because I uploaded the wrong CSV. Because then I was like, well, now I just have to take all of the chalk players out of my lineups and try to move it around. And then I ended up where it was like, all right, I guess I'll prioritize getting to like Royce O'Neal because a lot of people are going to be playing Rudy Gay. So I ended up being a little bit profitable on yesterday's slate, and I'm not sure I would have been had I not screwed up my CSV. So who knows?
Yeah, I would have had a profitable day if it weren't for basically kind of summarizing that Steph Curry was not going to return in the second half yesterday. And I fired a bunch of prize picks, firing second half lines on Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson specifically. Got a lot in on both of them. And one scored 27 points in the second half, and the other one scored 6. So thanks, Klay. Good job. Good effort, buddy. He's on my shit list. That is for sure. I'm going to just ask you here right off the bat, highest owned captains.
Let's see. In my final run here, so there's 3 guys that kind of stand out above the rest relative to ownership. I think the 2 best captain options are Cole Anthony and Marvin Bagley. I know that it's not that they're massive contrarian plays, but I don't project them wildly different from Saddiq Bey. And Saddiq Bey is so much more popular than them. So we've got Saddiq Bey, 25.5% captain ownership now. Cole Anthony, 18.4. Marvin Bagley, 13.6. I don't think Saddiq Bey outscores Marvin Bagley at 2-1 on this slate. So I'd say Cole Anthony, Marvin Bagley relative to ownership. If I'm going really contrarian at this point, Bamba already has 9% ownership. So does Franz Wagner. I guess Isaiah Stewart at 3.6 is probably my favorite contrarian captain as well.
Oh, Isaiah Stewart, man. I was on the on the opposite side of trying to get to a ton of Isaiah Stewart. That's kind of uncomfortable. But again, you can kind of build things in a certain way. I just want people to try to take a stand today in a certain extent. Don't just like play at the field of everybody. I mean, I'm going to be underweight to Saddiq Bey now in the captain spot, just slightly, ever so slightly. But, just finding paths to get a little bit different, making some stands. I like that you're heavier on Isaiah Stewart, a guy that I'm heavier on. I'm just going pretty much all in Mo Wagner here in this spot. But we are going to see how it all pans out for us here. Your highest owned utility spots, Greg.
Highest owned utility is... It's still Saddiq Bey, Cole Anthony, and Marvin Bagley. Relative to owner, like, are there any players you're way different on relative to the ownership? Like, I'm overweight to Isaiah Stewart, but it's when all of these guys are like almost every single player is 40 to 50% owned, and then you start to get into some of the more contrarian guys. It's like, oh, this guy's 25% owned or whatever, and RJ Hampton. But there's nobody that I have like 30% more of than the field has.
Yeah, I don't really have that either. But again, I'm making some stands. Mo Wagner, I'm almost all in on just because just a point of leverage, trying to make a stand on a guy. And I just think that those minutes are going to be much more secure than we've seen here. Could see him kind of being somebody that isn't as comfortable of a clip for some people, even though if you look at the box score, 35 fantasy points last game. We'll see. We got 9.5 minutes to go. I hope you guys already have your lineups in. Teddy Wayman, $5. You should just start rapping to Jordan's beats on a slate like this. Am I rapping right now?
This would probably be a good time. Jordan, why don't you make a new beat?
Oh yeah.
I know Jordan's no. That was horribly disappointing.
I
don't know. Not only that, but you started too far away from the mic, so we couldn't even hear it at the top. That went very that went very poorly.
I don't know what else to do, Craig. I don't know.
I briefly considered walking away and just watching basketball in the other room right there. So
what's the weirdest thing that you can quote, like verbatim? Do you have a monologue that you could quote, Greg? Is there something from a movie you could quote, like a long phrase, something or another?
A movie monologue. Not off the top of my head. I think we could answer people's question. That's probably a good way to go. But we could, if there's a movie you wanted me to read a monologue from, I could. There's none off the top of my head I could just read though.
All right, fine. In a rap throwdown, not going to be me.
The two players that I'm most overweight to in the utility spot are RJ Hampton and Isaiah Stewart.
All right, cool. Did I miss any super chats? I didn't miss any, right?
I'm scrolling right now just to double check.
I don't think we did. Again, I'm actually doing my job, if you believe it or not. I just don't know what else to say.
What movie character do you relate to the most?
I mean, TV show would be Ted Mosby, but I would say movie character. Tin Cup.
For what reason? Just because of the golf?
Yeah, and anger problems when it comes to golf. Like, just give me another ball.
Are you angry when you play golf? That's so funny to me.
Oh yeah, I get upset at the world.
Yeah, because I just can't imagine you being angry. Like, to me, you're only because from my standpoint, Eric only has two emotions. It is happy, which is like 98% of the time, and then just really, really sad if just somebody upsets him in YouTube chat somehow. Like those are the two emotions I believe you have. And mad isn't one of the ones that I see from you.
I'm just gonna cry now. It's fine. Don't mind me.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one. Yeah. So, look, you played somebody and they got late scratched, and you get sad. It's like, oh, there's one of Eric's emotion, but you're deep in your emotions though. You wear them on your sleeve. Whatever you're feeling, I know what it is.
Eric is more Eeyore. Oh, guys. Yeah, a little bit of that. Tom Cruise for Eric? No, definitely not Tom Cruise.
That's also, by the way, also, that is an actor, not a movie character.
I'm going to say that is a straight out actor. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Yeah, it always goes back to Billy Madison and some panic. Panic and insecurity. It's not very nice. I'm just fine. Maybe I am insecure. I'm a little bit country. You're a little bit rock and roll. It is what it is. Yeah, 6 minutes to go. Jordan Klein, can we get you on producer cam and have you build a lineup for us? No? Why not?
I just want some of Jordan's analysis. You know what else we could do that we haven't done yet? We haven't really talked about the FanDuel slate, Eric. We could talk about the FanDuel.
Fine. Let's round it out here. I talked about
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you get through the last few minutes.
But it's the same thing. I'm playing Marvin Bagley in like as a contrarian guy to play up in the MVP, but for the most part, I'm playing Sadiq Bey in my one lineup that I have over there. Going MVP, Marvin Bagley, and next up in the star spot. I'm playing Anthony in the utility, and that is my way of getting different. What are you doing?
Yeah, so we've talked about the MVP spot and how it's weird the ownership is so much different on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, to where Cole Anthony, by far the most popular MVP over on FanDuel. On DraftKings, Sadiq Bey is by far the most popular. You just kind of reverse some of these ownerships here and prioritize Bagley and Bey a little bit to get more different than with Cole Anthony over on FanDuel. But then you get to the star spot really flat. Mo Bamba, Franz Wagner, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, Marvin Bagley, Cole Anthony, all of them projected between 10 and 16% ownership. And let's see if there's anybody that I think warrants some ownership that isn't getting it at all.
Yeah. Okiki is out. What are we already knew Okiki was out.
Yeah. He's been out for a minute. Yeah. He was ruled out, I think, this morning.
I'm just saying, a lot of people just said, is Chuma Okiki in or out? In exclamation. And
out.
Normally, if it's in all caps, exclamation, I'm not going to answer it, but that was, thought I would answer it. Eric is nowhere near Rudd. That's not very nice.
He's nowhere near what?
Rudd. I like Paul Rudd. Yeah, Eric is Paul Rudd. I love you, man. That's a good one, Jordan Klein. That's a good one.
Paul Rudd also, actor, not movie character.
Correct. But he gave the movie character. He said Paul Rudd in the movie. So that's true.
Which movie?
I Love You, Man.
But Ryan is saying that DraftKings left the Q tag next to Okiki's name.
That makes things interesting.
right, relax, Eytan. So I think
from the moment I heard Frau say I had a clone, I knew that I'd be safe because I wouldn't be alone. An evil doctor shouldn't really talk about his feelings. My hurt and my pain don't make me too appealing. I thought Scott would look up to me, run the business of the family, have an evil empire just like his dear old dad, give him the love and the things I never had, but Scott rejected me. C'est la vie. Life is cruel, treats you unfairly, and even so, I gather my speed, mini-me, you complete me.
I don't want to clap. I don't know how to clap because I don't want to do it too loud where it like blows out everybody's eardrums. That was very impressive though. The impression was good. And then you also remembered all the lines, which is pretty impressive to me.
Thank you. There's certain things you just kind of have in the back pocket. I'd never expected that would be something that I had an opportunity to do, but that's what you get in 3 minutes left to go.
So I don't know if you had this issue with any sort of like when I did sketches and stuff like that, I could never remember my lines. And it was twofold. Really? Number one was because I was just like, why does it have to be verbatim? The same thing's written word for word. I know people get particular about that where it's like, I wrote it this way. I want it to be said that way. To me, it's like if I say a couple of words a little bit differently, it's not the end of the world. It's all the same meaning. But there are people who write things that feel differently. And I found that to be the most difficult thing to do, to remember things verbatim, word for word.
So what's fascinating too is the further you get into the acting world or whatever else, like the lines are like the 158th most concerning thing you need to be worried about. Like acting is not memorizing words, but yet when you're a kid, it's like, oh, he said the wrong word, haha, and they joke around about that. But like, it's incredible because you probably had all the other things, but that was the sole thing you were worried about. And like the hardest.
No, I wasn't worried about it. I didn't care.
That's great. That is the best place to be in, is that you don't care about your lines. That's a great place to be in because then you're actually free and playing and having fun, and it's going to be entertaining to watch.
Until you're doing live sketches in front of an audience and you're with people and they're mad because you didn't read a line exactly, you didn't do a line exactly this. Like, who gives a shit?
Exactly. Craig, this is the most like connected we've been. I didn't expect it to be on this shitty basketball slate on Odd Shopper. We love Odd Shopper, but we also want to check out everything that you have to check out over there. Somebody asked for the best play of the day. Let's do that to round it out, Greg. Is there a bet from Odd Shopper for prize picks, for anything else that you could possibly want to kind of round? Oh, most entertaining duo in DFS from Anthony DLC. Oh, thank you.
I'm checking just to make sure none of the odds have changed. I only have one bet place today. It's Mo Bamba for over 1.5 blocks. The odds have moved a lot since this morning. You could still get it. It is plus money on one book if you go check out Odd Shopper. Earlier in the day, Mo Bamba over 1.5 blocks was available for up to plus 150. Now it's plus 105. So different circumstance, but still at over 1.5, we have a projected 67% win rate, 38% projected ROI. It's one that you should have gotten or ideally would have gotten earlier in the day. Easy to find. You just go on over to Odd Shopper and you would have known that was a good bet to have. For now, though, I still do like Mo Bamba over 1.5 blocks, though.
I love that. That's a great one to end on. RJ Hampton over on his rebounds looks pretty good for prize pick, 68% win percentage if you're looking for something for over there. My guys, we did it. We just talked about this game for 2+ hours. The guys before us on the Locks Before Locks show, then the Deeper Dive, and us. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't get anything from us, we're going to be back tomorrow doing a 12-gamer. I promise you, we will have all the goods for that one. We gave you all the things we possibly could tell you here on this one. Hour in the books. Greg, any final words for the people?
What else is there to say? Enjoy the game tonight. This is going to likely be a heavyweight matchup, potential finals preview. It's funny. I said that earlier to somebody that it was a potential finals preview, and what somebody said is it can't because they're both from the Eastern Conference. Like, yeah, that's that's the issue.
He's Greg. He's funny. I'm Eric. I'm not. We'll see you guys later. Thanks, Jordan Klein. Oh, so good.